All right, they should be able to see us and hear us. So, hello, if anyone's in the channel, thanks for joining us. If you're not in the channel and you're watching this later, that's totally cool too. So, thanks for thinking of us. We are Adventures in Lollygagging. We play a variety of tabletop role-playing games on the internet, on this channel and on others. Tonight, we're going to be trying a brand new game that we'll get into in a moment. But I'll do a quick couple of plugs here, and we'll kind of go through our characters and stuff like that. So for us, Friday nights we're going to start trying to be more regular about what we play. Usually indie games. You're going to see Best Left Buried sometimes. You're going to see games like Those Dark Places and Troika and other things that are going to be popping up. On Mondays, every other Monday, we're going to be playing Alien from Free League, and you can also see us like 2 or 3 Saturdays a month playing Mutineer Zero as well. And then we also moonlight over on the Free League Publishing channel, where we every other week we play Vaesen. So lots of different games, but this is a brand new one for us, and so we're probably gonna butcher the hell out of this game for the first time anyway. So the game itself, Best Laid Buried is or Best Left Buried is by Soul Muppet Publishing. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and drop a link, see if that works in the chat. So if anyone's in the chat, or if you come by around and later in the chat, you can kind of see that link where you can go find it. But it is a fantasy horror game. It is rules light, which means there's not a whole lot of complicating stuff to it. There's not 1,000 different floating modifiers, and there's not a great deal of complication, which is kind of what we're looking for. So fantasy horror with some dark comedy and stuff like that. Everybody, all the players that you see, they're going to be playing crypt diggers. Basically, they're this game's version of adventurers, people who go off into random crypts and dungeons throughout the world and loot treasure and all that kind of stuff. I am the Doomsayer, which is basically just the GM, and yeah, other than that, it's kind of the same deal as any other RPG. So we're going to be playing through a very small little kind of dungeon crypt from A Doom to Speak, which is like a little zine they put together with a series of small dungeons, and the one that I kind of picked up because I thought it looked fun and funny was the Plumwine Estate, and we'll get into that as we go. So this is probably going to take maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm thinking. I don't feel like this is probably going to be a particularly long crawl, but we'll eventually be playing more of this game, I think, and tackling one of the larger adventures. I'm going to have everyone introduced because we just rolled characters within the last 30 minutes. It was basically random, though a couple people hit the random button a couple times to find something they like. But that's okay. It's more or less random. So what I would like everyone to do is, as we go around, you can say who you are, who you're playing, what your archetype is. And so you have like that little page in our Foundry that has information. So you can kind of tell us about the specific archetype that you randomly rolled. And we'll go from there. So, Ashley, you're up first.
Yay. I'm Ashley. I'm playing Tilda. Yes, I did have to Google how to pronounce her name. And she's an outcast adventurer because they don't fit in anywhere else. They're often homeless vagrants because their family kicked them out, sometimes because of their own choice. They might be hedge knights, lone wizards, brooding rangers. They're always grim, fiercely capable survivors. And I rolled for my advancement. I see the truth in stars, which the little blurb for that is I get some cool cryptic visions from our doomsayer.
Okay, right on.
So,
Uh, and next up is Justin. What did you roll?
So I rolled Victor, the free blade. I used to be a roofer. Weird change in lifestyles. But free blade is a hero of a more financial orientation. They aren't looking to save the world or to watch it burn. They just want to get paid. They might be mercenaries, professionals, soldiers, assassins for hire, or spell swords, which is what I am.
Okay, and then what was the thing that you got that allows you to do? What was your advancement, I should say?
So my advancement is Fire and Lightning Strange, and it's basically when taking this advancement, the character chooses one type of element. I chose lightning because my story is I was a roofer and got struck by lightning, and now I have these awesome powers. I know it's supposed to be magical, but I've turned this into a superhero somehow. So yeah. I got my way,
Yeah.
And basically, I can use magic as a weapon to strike down my enemy with my chosen element. So that's what I'm doing.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right. So next is Melissa.
Okay, so I am Melissa. I am playing Constance. Constance is a cutthroat. So cutthroats are criminals and other unsavory folk. They might be thugs, ruffians, thieves, assassins, or other general lowlives. The common denominator is that they will lie, cheat, and murder to get whatever they want and do worse to get the things they need. Failed career was a forger, so I don't think that changed all that much going from a forger to a cutthroat. And her advancement is Shadow Glamours, which is devious and arcane. So she can spend an action and a point of grip to either gain upper hand on a wit check to hide, make all enemies against the odds on observation checks, or alter visual aspects of my cosmetic appearance, such as clothing, facial hair, or facial detail or hair. Um, and that will react inconsistently with other senses for 1 minute.
Okay. Just to be clear, I do not remember all the advancements and such. I punched them all in so that you all could see them, but I don't remember any of them. So if they apply, it's it's on you to make sure you all tell me when they apply, when you want to use them, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And then Logan.
So I'm playing Imoti. I am a small folk. Or I used to be. I failed as an escaped prisoner, whatever that means. So I guess I'm currently still a prisoner. It looks like small folk doesn't really have the same descriptive blurb as you guys have. So I'm just going to read a little excerpt that just says, they ain't too far away from goblins either. Common ancestry, the scholars say. Personally, I think they're the same stock. The differences are likely a little bit more than nature versus nurture. Goblins being what happened when the small folk get hungry and start eating each other. That's pretty much what Madoc looked like after she went feral.
Okay.
So kind of little bit more than a hobbit or a halfling, a little bit more
Yeah.
feral, I guess.
Yeah, I think small folk are just sort of like the blend of, because this game doesn't really have like traditional ancestries or races if or species or something like that. Like there's archetypes, and some of those archetypes are demi-humans, and so there's like a small folk, there's elf, and there's dwarf, but you only get it via the archetype. And then all the other things are things like you've all rolled, like free blade, cutthroat, occultist, believer, etc. So lots of different things. All right. So this is going to be a learning game for us, which means we're probably going to get a lot of rules wrong, but I'm also probably going to be taking some time to try to explain some stuff, because everyone here, other than myself, I think maybe Melissa did a little bit, but no one else really read the rules. And I didn't tell them to, because I wanted this to be sort of a drop in, and so we can kind of walk through it and how to play as we sort of figure some stuff out, and then figure out if we want to keep playing it. And I think we do, because I like it so far. Now, you all have your character sheets, so let me walk you through it really quickly before we actually get into the story and what you're doing. So in this game, we've already talked about archetypes, which is effectively like a class or profession, and it gives you a couple specific abilities that you get to use. And so just keep an eye on when those might be useful. Call them out if they will, or and if they don't, sorry, might not apply every single time. Then there's stats. There's 3 different stats that you have. There's brawn, wits, and will. So brawn is basically physicality, right? It's like how strong you are, and or like your constitution. So it's like a little bit, it's both strength and constitution kind of blended together. So though anything that might apply to that is where brawn might come from. Wits is about like agility and cleverness. So it's like how clever are you with your physical body, like how fast or quick you are, but also like how fast or quick are you with like your mind, your tongue, like that kind of thing. And then will is about intelligence, and it's about intuition. So it's a combination of those two things. So when you start best left buried, you basically have to either, if you're rolling randomly, your stats are automatically allocated for you, or if you're creating your character from scratch, one of these stats will be a 2, one will be a 1, and one will be a 0. And so when we do stat checks, if I say roll a brawn check, you roll a couple dice and you add your stat for your brawn, and we go from there. So simple enough. The other things that you derive, the other stats you derive are vigor, grip, and then to some degree armor as well. So vigor is basically health. That's kind of how that works, and it's built upon your brawn. So the higher the brawn you have, the more vigor you have. And grip is a couple different things actually, because grip is builds off of will, but grip also lets you. It's sort of a measure of how how capable you are of seeing like terrible things, but it also can be used to trigger abilities. So some of your abilities might say spend a grip point to do blank. So it could be stress checks, fear checks, or it could be something that you're actually spending. So like almost like a mana pool. Now, if you ever run out of vigor, you're basically dead. We flip a coin, and then half the time you're dead, half the time you're unconscious, and you come back with like an injury and a mental affliction. And then grip, if you don't want to go down on grip either, then you actually would be forced to take an affliction and stuff like that. Afflictions are like mental injuries, and then injuries are physical injuries. And then you got your weapons. We won't get too heavily into weapons until the time comes. But we also have advancements. Advancements, you start the game with 1, but then you also get to, as you get XP and stuff, you get to go ahead and gain more advancements as you get stronger. And so that's really it for now. We'll get into consequences and stuff later once those things happen. But that's the basics of it. The game is all about D6 pools. So we're going to be rolling a lot of D6s, and that's about it. When you do a check, when you do a stat check, like a brawn check or a will check, I'll be asking you to you basically roll 2d6, and then you add your modifier. If you're attacking, you roll 3d6, and we get to add like your modifier as well. We'll talk about how to allocate damage and things like that. So it's always going to be pools. The other big thing to talk about is when you get certain things called against the odds or upper hand. So if you've played a very popular video game or popular tabletop role-playing game called Dungeons and Dragons, they have advantage and disadvantage, where you roll like 2 dice and you take the higher, or you roll 2 dice and take the lower. This is sort of like Best Left Buried's version of that. So if you get the upper hand, if you're ever granted the upper hand on a roll, you get to roll 3d6s, drop the lowest, and then you see whether you succeeded or not. If you're against the odds, you roll 3d6s, you drop the highest, and you see whether you succeeded or not. The game allows you to sort of stack those in a way. You never roll, you don't get extra dice for every instance of upper hand, but you do eventually, if you have so many instances of the upper hand that you can make a check trivial, where you don't even have to roll it anymore because it's automatically successful.
Just gonna happen.
Right. So like, to give you an example, if you're trying to like, lift something, if you're trying to like bust down like the door to like a sarcophagus or something, it's a really heavy stone door. You go up to it and you want to open it up, and it's really strong and it's really heavy. And so you'd be like, well, I have this crowbar. I'm like, all right, you get a point of upper hand from that. That'll allow you to now roll your brawn check with 3d6s. But then somebody else is like, oh, well, I can help them out. I'm like, all right, we'll go ahead and take another point of upper hand. And then if somebody else has like a battering ram or something on them, we'll say, all right, that's 3 now. So between those 3 things, it's trivial. You open the door. We don't even have to roll a check. And so the game is all about kind of manipulating your upper hands and your against the odds to make sure that you can make stuff as easy as possible. So makes sense? It'll make more sense as we play. So,
Yep.
All right. So let's get into this little adventure that we're going to play. So any questions before we start? Anything at all?
Not right now. I'll have loads more later.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're just gonna interrupt when we.
No, totally. Again, learning game. So just if you have questions, let's just shout them out. We'll figure it out. And thank you, Adam, for the sub. Very appreciative. And we're back to Alien on Monday, so also very excited. All right, so all of you, the 4 of you, are part of a larger company of crypt diggers. This is pretty standard, pretty rote when it comes to this game. You're part of a large company of crypt diggers. You're like the Antique Roadshow, sort of. You go around to various places where people are dead or something's been abandoned, and you go through their shit and you see what costs a lot, and then you sell it and you make money and everyone's happy. And so you're part of a larger company of crypt diggers, and you have recently made camp in the countryside near a modestly sized town that we're going to go ahead and call Tippenstall. To the west and north of your camp, there are rolling hills that extend. Some are forested, some are covered in fairly high, thick grass, and others are home to ancestral vineyards and orchards. The townsfolk of Tippenstall are in the midst of holiday celebrations, much like ourselves. It's a post-harvest time where folks are drinking and eating and being merry. It's a feeling they're probably not going to be able to experience again once winter strikes, which it will strike very, very soon. Now, the level of merriment in Tippenstall, however, was at a lower level than normal because there was a particular run of alcohol that was absent, a particular brand, so to speak, the varietals of the Plumwines, which is a small folk family that's steeped in aristocracy and intrigue and whose vineyards sit off in orchards, sit off to the northwest, somewhere within the various rolling hills near where your company has struck camp. Now, from what you have gathered, from what the scuttlebutt around your camp and from town are, it seems that the Plumwines have grown exceedingly absent from society of late, and no one can recall the last time that a Plumwine made their way to market, to town. The estate itself is very much out of the way, and it has grown silent. And the people of Tippenstall, amidst their merriment, have grown concerned, very selfishly, because they want their booze. Now, perhaps it was the alcohol talking from the various townsfolk, or perhaps it's truth, but there are rumors abound of a variety of reasons for why they have been so absent. Everything from plague to a goblin invasion, even to a story of like wretched infighting amongst the family. And no one really knows if any are true because no one's really gone and investigated. And that's where things are about to change because your company's commander is sending you into the hills upwards to the Plumwines estate to search through the grounds to discover what's befallen this small folk family, if anything at all. And should the estate have been abandoned, you're to lay claim to its plunder for your company and collect what you can, and perhaps even see if there's some sort of recipe laying about for this wonderful plum wine varietal that everyone seems to go gaga over. So that's your job. I'll give you a little bit of time here in camp if you want to ask any more questions or if there's any more preparation that you want to do. But that's the gist.
So you want to see if they're okay. If they're not okay, take their land and steal their recipe.
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and anything else that you find, because they are an ancestral small folk family who's been doing this for years, and so it's possible that their grounds have all sorts of fabulous, wonderful things. Any other questions?
No.
Okay. So, the four of you, again, you're a group among many. It's very easy to roll a backup character because death can happen very quickly in this game. Combat can be very swingy, so we'll get to that later. So
I'm ready to die.
The four of you, on a overcast, bordering on cold, windy day, where there's like a kind of like a misty rain and a bit of fog that is starting to kick up in these rolling hills, you set out from your camp. There are no roads, at least not in the traditional sense. No cobblestone. There might be a path or a trail here or there, but for the most part, you're kind of uncertain. You only have like the general direction of where to go, and so you start heading off in the basic geographical direction. So just because I want to demonstrate how a roll works, I want someone to take the lead on kind of navigating through some of the fog and the hills and all that kind of stuff. So who would like to do this and kind of describe how would you go about trying to like sort of lead the group forward?
I'm here for the money. I don't want to lead.
Okay.
I just want to. I want the quiche.
I have Home in the Wild, which is an outcast trait where I gain the upper hand when making a will check to navigate in a wilderness environment.
Perfect situation. So what this means, roll 3d6s.
Okay.
Drop the lowest because you have upper hand. So if
lowest is a 2.
Okay, so roll 3. Okay, so your lowest is a 2, and what's the other?
6, 3, and 2.
So what's the highest total you can do with 2 dice?
12. Right? Or
9.
what do you mean? 9.
What's the highest
I
total?
thought you meant like total.
So that's okay. So 6 and a 3, total of 9, which is a pass because on stat checks we're basically looking for a 9. But the other thing is that you got to add your will, and so what's your will?
Oh God, 2.
So that would be 11. So you still pass though. All right. So Tilda gets out in front And despite this weird creeping fog that has set in, it's not too terrible. It's not like pea soup. It's basically like someone has let dry ice go for a little too long, and it's like maybe to your shins or your kneecaps, or in the case of Imoti, it's all the way up to your chest. Hey there, Rita, and it's Telwyn. Thanks for hanging out. So you start heading off, and you manage to avoid some of the pitfalls here and there. You see the signs of like smaller homes, a little bit like smoke coming out of a chimney here and there. People who just also live out in the hills, but you've been told by those in town and by those in camp that this estate is much further and higher up into the hills. The trek isn't terrible. These aren't mountains; they're hills. And more than once, you manage to come across what looks to have once been a road sign, Tilda, or at least a path sign. Something like an arrow pointing in one direction says Plumwines, and in another direction it says the Fezzlewits or something like that. And so you do your best to sort of pick the right direction. Now, you're traveling for a few hours until somewhere around midday. It's still overcast. The sun hasn't come out all that much. And you come across what looks to be kind of a series of orchards. So you can see that there's these groves, these large trees, and the first one you come across, Tilda, you notice right off the bat that this is a plum. This is a plum tree, and you're pretty confident that you're now in the right direction. Looking around, you still don't see any signs of a home. You've been told that this is an estate, and so that there's likely going to be multiple buildings on the grounds. But this is the first signs that you've seen of some kind of fruit-bearing tree. And as you approach this orchard, you can see that there's hundreds and hundreds of these things. What would you all like to do?
Constance is going to eat a plum.
Okay, so you grab a plum, take a nice big bite. Go ahead and roll a brawn check.
All right.
So 2d6s plus your brawn score.
So my brawn is a 2, so that's a 10.
Okay, yeah, you bite into it. It's a little softer than you probably would like. You bite into one side, and it's a little softer. It's very juicy. You can tell it's off. You can tell it's a little old. When you flip the plum around to the other side, you notice that it's rotten on the other side. And this is one that you just kind of plucked off the vine itself. There are a handful on the ground as well, but you bite into it, you feel okay.
Throw that down and look for a better one.
Okay. So now we can roll an observation check. So we'll say this. So an observation check in this game is when you just roll 2d6s and you're looking for a 9. That's it. No bonus or anything. You're just looking for a 9.
Got a 6.
Okay. Yeah, you look around and you cannot find. There's a handful of plums on the ground, and there's even more that are still up on the tree. None of them seem to be in particularly good condition. The ones that are on the tree are much like the one that you just bit into, like salvageable, but not ideal. The ones on the ground are rotten and old, and definitely not worth biting.
Well, this doesn't look like anyone's been out here working these orchards very recently. This is a waste. This all could have been wonderful and delicious wine that we could have been drinking. And I'll be looking around to see if there are any workers or anything around.
Even without an observation check, you can tell that there are no workers. And again, there's hundreds of these that you're going to have to pass through on your way closer to wherever it is you're trying to go. What else is everybody doing?
Tilda's down to keep going straight unless you guys want to do something else.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
So Emoti's going to start just stepping on some of the plums as he kind of meanders around and cursing under his breath. These damn plum wines are never going to compete with the Elder Grogs.
Okay.
So Imoti has a rival alcohol brewing company where it's basically a alcoholic stew that they call a grog. So since small folk love their food and their meals, they basically brew a very, very thick grog that basically has bits of meat and other types of unknown things in it. So
That sounds
he's very much happy that the plum wines have gone missing, because his business is doing a little bit better these days.
okay. That sounds delicious and awful all at the same time. Okay,
I
so
don't like more than
Are you sure
thick
it's not
alcohol.
chowder? Like,
oh god, not chowder again.
Thick, meaty alcohol.
Lukewarm.
It's like a stout, but with chunks of meat inside of it.
Yep.
It's exactly what we all
Guinness
wanted in
stew.
life. The Guinness stew. Copyright. Okay. All right. So you begin moving a little bit further in. And more than once, Victor, you hear the sounds of kind of something moving around. You can tell that this place, this grove is somewhat overgrown. While there's definitely fruit still, showing up on the vines. There's not like there's a ton of fruit that hasn't yet been picked, but there's also some trees that you come across that are kind of bare fruit, and there's not really much on the ground. And there's a lot of high grass as well. And more than once, you hear like this sort of the vague sounds of like something kind of moving about in this high grass. And this high grass goes up to maybe 3 feet, 4 feet tall. So Imoti is probably your head sticking up just over top of it, probably. But the rest of you, it's no higher than your waist. But Victor, you hear this little like this weird sounds and crunching of like dry straw. What would you like to do?
Can I start searching through the tall grass? See what the hell's going on?
Yeah, roll an observation check. So 2d6s, and you're looking for a 9.
Farts.
Okay. So you start moving off in the direction in which you think the noise is coming from, and you're slowly creeping up, and you can see that the stalks, like these two sort of yellowish stalks, of it's not grass anymore. It might be weeds. It might be some other flower. You're not entirely sure, but they're kind of swaying a bit, just out of the just over the top of this like little light mist. And when you get within 3 or 4 steps, your foot crunches on like a little twig, and all of a sudden, just like bats out of hell, there's these little, like it's like a something moving through the grass itself away from you, just bolting as fast as possible. You give chase for a second, but you realize it's just too fast. And when you look on the ground from where they were, there are, looks like a couple rotten plums that have a bunch of bite marks in them.
Is there any like check I can do to analyze the bite marks? Maybe I know what this is, or
I mean, you take a look, and I mean, you can pick it up, just take a look at it, and it's certainly, it's been nibbled on. Like, it doesn't really take too much to decide that this is more than likely a smaller mouth.
like a child?
Could be a child, could be an animal.
Small folk.
Yeah, it's definitely not like, there's no big chunk missing like the one that Constance took, where she just took a big meaty bite out of one side. It's definitely has been nibbled on. You notice also like the vague impressions in the dirt as you kind of sweep away some of the mist momentarily, and you can see like these little tiny tracks in the ground. They're vague impressions. It's hard to really get a sense of what it might be, but they definitely went off in kind of a northwesternly direction.
Something small and creepy just walked through here.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
Do we want to go after it?
Who you calling small and creepy?
Something less small and less creepier than you came walking through here, nibbling stuff, and its tiny little feetsies ran this way. Might be somewhere we might be interested in going after.
Let's track these, as you say, feetsies.
Good. I'm glad you're using the same vernacular as me. Good.
Let's go.
Okay. So
Perhaps it is a small child, and I will adopt said child.
okay. You
You're
keep
just gonna pick up random babies in the wilderness to make them yours? Is that what you're gonna do?
Where else will you find children?
That's a good point.
at the children's store at the Baby Gap. Okay, so you you follow the weaving of these different creatures as far as you can until like they just outpace you. But they do lead you slightly away from the orchard of plum trees, and you see what looks like the first building that you've seen thus far on the grounds. You see nothing more than kind of a rickety old shed. There's a it's almost, there's like a one angular roof. There's like one big slat. It's not like brought to a peak or anything. It's maybe 10 by 10 feet or so. There's a door on the western side that with each tiny gust of wind just sort of rattles a bit. It looks like it wants to open and it slowly starts to, but then it kind of like hits something on the other side.
Go in there. I'll take a little peeky peek.
Okay. You step up. You gotta push the door open, and you realize it is stuck on something. And so there's only like you only kind of get it open a couple inches, so not enough for you to sneak through. How do you want to handle this?
Can we see what it's jammed up on at all?
You peek in there. I don't know. It looks like there's some kind of I don't know, some sack of things on the ground on the other side. It's hard to tell. It's like a rucksack or some sort of.
Is it perhaps potatoes? Because I could smell those.
50
miles.
It actually smells very much like rotten fruit, pretty much in every direction right now.
Damn.
Can we, I guess, give it a little shoulder?
Yeah, go
Try
ahead.
and shove it open.
Roll a little brawn check because they're fun.
So is that going to be
Maybe I could sneak through since I'm so small.
Yeah, we could probably do that first.
Is it
Have them
wide
look at
enough
it
for
first.
a,
We'll
for
say-
a 3-foot little halfling? to get
Yeah,
through?
roll a wit check then for Imoti.
I get an upper hand bonus when it comes to trying to fit into small spaces or
Sure.
sneak and stuff like that.
Okay, so roll 3d6, drop the lowest, and then add your wit.
It should be 10 plus 1, 11.
Okay, yeah, so you're able to sneak through. You slip in just fine, and it is some kind of equipment shed. You as you step in, there is something on the wall that just had gotten dislodged. As you kind of slip through, your shoulder kind of bumps the door frame a little bit, and suddenly this rusted old sickle just comes swiping down as if it was going to go right at your head if you were more human or elvish height. But because you're so small,
Ooh.
you're able to cape underneath it, and you can see that this rusted sickle kind of embeds itself right into the door that you just slipped past. Had Victor gone in and not paid attention, it could have got him clear right in the neck.
Was this a trap?
A trap? I don't know. Doesn't look like it. It looks like there's just a bunch of tools either strewn about on the ground. Some are on tables. Some are hanging from the walls themselves. A lot of them look to have been rusted. There's like a lot of plum juice that seems to have been dried on some of the blades. There's rakes and things and shovels. You're not sure the condition of them all. And on the ground, there's this large sack that is unmoving, but it reeks pretty terribly.
You move it out of the way and I can get in there with you.
Do I need to make a check for that, or can I?
Nah, you can. Nah, it's easy enough at this point to just grab a hold.
slide it back and.
Yeah. You notice as you slide it back, by the way, that it leaves like a little trail in the
Oh,
ground.
I knew you were gonna say that.
But the door is now openable. Yes.
I walk in. I go, "What did you do?"
Oh, it stinks like hot hell in here.
Does in fact stink like high hell in here. Would you like
Does
to?
anyone have any? Before we look in this thing that smells awful and is leaking something, does anyone have like a strong constitution? Any type of like stuff like that we can take advantage of?
I have.
I'm
two
also
borrowed-
thinking back of like Grim and Perilous. I don't know if this is gonna matter if we have to throw up or not. So,
Don't worry about it. Just play your character. It's
Just
fine.
play. It's fine.
My
Alright,
aim
well.
is to kill everybody before tonight.
I'm gonna take a little peek, see what's going on inside, see if it's filled with with delicious like
Pastries.
pastries and
There we
I'm
go.
gonna ready my spear.
Okay. So while Victor is kneeling down to peel back the flap of this rucksack, Imoti, you have your spear out ready to go, standing just to the side, and as you peel it back, it kind of sticks a bit, and you have to, with the second hand, kind of pull it back, and you realize as you there's just these giant rat carcasses. I need both of you to roll grip checks because Tilda
damn it, I knew it.
Constance, you're
I knew
okay. So a grip check is basically this is an opportunity for you to gain XP though. I don't want you to think that like you can't, like this is always a bad thing. So the target is a 9. It's a will test, so just roll 2d6s, add your will, and you're looking for a 9.
Got it.
Okay.
Son of a bitch.
All right. So, Victor, you do in fact begin just kind of throwing up there on the ground. You lose a point of grip.
I want to throw up onto the rats.
Yes.
So just like
Of course.
it compounds the situation.
Absolutely.
Oh god, no, it's worse.
Yeah, so you vomit all over these disgusting rats. Imoti, you can take an XP for surviving, for passing the grip check.
I lose a what?
And you lose a grip.
Where do I track XP on this?
I'll add that later. Just put that in the
Okay.
treasure box at the bottom. There's like a big text area for treasure at the bottom. Okay. But yeah, as you peel back, you realize it's not so much a sack as it is just kind of like a rolled up heavy cloth, and you start peeling it back, throwing up each time, and then pull, and then eventually you realize that there are 3 dog-sized rats in here, all of them kind of smashed and poked in
Rats
some way.
Of unusual size.
No, they're pretty big.
ROUSs? I don't think they exist.
And that's when one of them leaps off the cliff, bites into Emoti's shoulder. But yeah, there's 3 of these things, and they definitely appear dead.
Is this something that we see in this area? Like, do rats get this big here?
I mean, it's not the most uncommon thing for rats to get big in the wild. Like, this is supposedly an estate. It's a little big. Yeah. But no, I mean, like, rats of small dog size, like 30 pounds or so. Not the most obscure thing to see.
Okay.
Like, I should have ate all that spaghetti.
Hey, Eminem.
He's just got
Dun, dun,
undigested
dun.
spaghetti coming out of his mouth. It's just like still strands of it. Just...
No, he's like pulling noodles out of his
I can
mouth.
actually, oh god.
When you get it stuck in the back of your throat and you just have to like pull it out yourself.
What is wrong with you people?
So, anyways, about these dead rats, Jeff.
Okay.
These kind of grosses out.
So about these dead rats. Yeah, so they're on the ground. They're here. You're in a small shed, about 10 by 10, with various crummy-looking gardening and tree pruning equipment.
Is there any other doors that we can see, either on the ground or on the walls, besides the one we came in? You said it was like a shed.
Roll an observation check.
All right, that's just 2.
Mm-hmm. You don't notice.
Killing it.
Yeah, you are. You don't notice any doors, but you do notice, like, on the ground, you as you're going through the some of the trash on the ground, you do notice that there is a fairly decent looking trowel, or like a small hand shovel that seems to be in decent condition compared to everything else. Of all the other tools are probably flimsy and terrible, but you can go ahead and put that in your little box. Just put like a hand shovel, and as you're moving that, you notice at the base that there is a hole in the ground, fairly small, but if you wanted, you could probably squeeze and get down into there. The rest of you probably could as well.
I have an actual shovel if we need to make the hole bigger at all.
We all have shovels.
Yeah.
Can we give these rats a proper burial?
Sure.
Since the name of the game is Best Left Buried, so I think we should bury some rats and see if maybe we
Okay.
get some bonus event.
Okay. Do you want to bury them
'cause-
outside or inside?
Outside.
Okay.
Right?
So you step outside.
Sometimes dead. It's
Take
better.
about a half an hour, and you bury these rats. So
Now can we go look in the hole?
All right, now I have to give its last rites. Takes another 2 hours, maybe.
No, it doesn't. All I do is throw some salt down. Done. Let's
Some
go.
lie.
now, as you're outside, like you still hear that vague kind of chittering sounds all over the place. The orchard to the south kind of weaves and continues to grow up the hills a bit, and so it continues off in the direction that you were headed. But you did find this hole in the shed, but it doesn't appear as if many of these tools have been used or treated well, I should say. They've been used but not treated well.
Does it look like that these creatures could have been what was chewing things and leaving prints?
I mean, they definitely have smaller mouths than you do, so yeah, sure.
All right. I think we should investigate whatever the hell that sound was and try and track down whatever's causing this extra creepiness in the area.
Yeah, because the hole's giving me flashbacks of our podcast campaign.
Oh yeah,
The farm.
yeah, giant rat. Yeah.
So did I look in the hole inside the shed?
Yeah, it's like a tunnel that seems to go downwards.
A tunnel, you say?
Yeah.
How large?
You could squeeze. It would be uncomfortable for the non-small folk, but you could probably do it.
I can lead the way. Might as well, right?
I mean,
You know what they say about the yellow brick road.
yeah, let's go.
Okay.
We don't want to check out the rest of the property before we jump into this hole.
We're
It
here.
might be best to take one more little scan of the area, see if there's anything else around before we dive down a hole.
I'm gonna tie the
We're s-
50-foot rope to my waist,
Okay.
and I'm gonna give the other end to everyone else and say, I'm gonna go check this out real quick.
Okay.
You're just like,
If you feel
deuces.
if you feel two tugs, pull me back.
Okay. All right.
I'll hold on the other end of the rope.
So because you're so small, I'm not gonna make you roll anything here, but you managed to squeeze, and it is a fairly tight squeeze. But I mean, you know going down that this tunnel is actually probably bigger than those rats needed. You're wider than these rats, and you're still getting down here. But you seem to be going down probably about 10, 15, 20 feet until you realize that the tunnel itself broadens and opens. You are underground. Like you look around and you can see that there's sort of rocky walls, sandy walls, little roots, dead roots from maybe some of the plants above sticking out. You get the vague smell of earth. There's kind of a weird lingering, like almost like a sand on the air, like it's thick down here. You can hear distant sounds of like water dripping, but it's very, very dark, and so you cannot actually see much other than what's in front of you for a few feet. Those of you who are up there, you probably about 2/3 of the rope has been exhausted. There's a little bit of slack left. What do you want to do, Imoti?
I want to turn on my electric torch since we're using the UK vernacular.
Okay.
It's battery powered.
I don't think you have a flashlight on you.
I see it right here. It says torch. I got 3 of them.
Yes, you have a torch. So you're going to go ahead and strike up a torch. No problem. And when you do so, you can see that there are the walls that you're looking at, dusty, kind of crumbling when you start to run your hands against them. Dirt just crumbles down. The floor of the cave is a little sturdier where you're stepping, but there is still kind of dust and mud on it. And the tunnel that you're in, it's fairly narrow, but at this point you can stand up. The rest of them would probably have to crouch, but you can see that behind you there's like a wall, and then it slopes up back to above ground. But you can also go forward, and forward seems to be it's like a decent, like it's slowly tapering open, like it's getting bigger and bigger. If you were to go forward.
I'm gonna just kind of go as far as the rope will let me.
Okay. So you move enough to where you can see that this little tunnel opens up into a bigger room, like a bigger cave room. You can't actually get into the cave room itself, but you can see that it, like the light's kind of dance off the walls a bit, and you can see that the tight tunnel becomes a place where even Tilda or Constance might even be able to stand up.
Anything I can see of importance in the room? Is it like empty? Is there?
It just looks like a rocky cave right now, sandy cave. You don't have a great view of it because they're a little bit recessed, but yeah, you don't see anything other than that.
Alrighty, I guess I'll head back and kind of share the information I've gathered. I'll give the rope kind of 2 tugs and have them start helping me back through the hole.
Okay. So you start pulling them back up?
Yep.
Okay.
I do.
All right. Should be fine. Sorry, I just had to do a little private roll really fast.
See if the rope breaks.
Nothing to worry about at all.
See if we get ambushed.
Nothing at all to
Run into some rats.
Ourselves with. As you're getting pulled up the tunnel, right as they're about to kind of pull you back up into the tight spot where you got to climb down, you hear something from where you just came, Imoti. You hear like the sound almost of like singing or whistling, like it's kind of a slobbering, drunkish sound.
Interesting.
I'm pulling the rope back.
Yeah, I'm just
Okay. So go ahead. You get pulled all the way back up, and you are now with the rest of them back in the shed.
I'm just gonna share what I saw about the expanding room. Didn't see much of any signs of anyone had been there recently, but I didn't really quite go far enough to really get a great look at it. But I did hear what possibly sounded like a drunk thing that was attempting its communication abilities.
Well, I think so. It's big enough for us to go down.
Yeah,
it would be difficult, but we could all fit through.
Yeah.
Maybe Justin might have a little bit of a trouble, but we'll send someone behind him to kind of push his hips through the crevasse.
I don't know. He's been doing keto lately. He might. I think he could hear us. By the way, I think he's got wireless headsets, so I think he's gonna come back very mad.
Nothing like a little bit of butter in the coffee.
Oh shit! He's here. Be quiet. Oh, he didn't have him on. Sweet. Okay. So.
Sorry about that. What happened?
Nothing at all.
Nope.
Everything's fine.
We're cool.
He went down. He found kind of a broader cave opening. Couldn't get it too far because of the rope. Heard the sounds of like something drunkenly singing, and then got pulled back up.
Let's go in there.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Lead the way.
Because we all get our shovels and start.
Okay. Do you want to take time to make the hole bigger, or do you want to just try to squeeze down?
I think
We're
we
just
should make it
pushing
bigger.
each other through.
I think it might be better to make it bigger.
That could take hours.
No, it won't. It took you half an hour to bury a couple of rats.
Yeah, we buried rats. We don't want to make a hole a little bit bigger.
Yeah, if we need a frantically GTFO, like.
Okay.
Yeah, let's open this thing up.
Okay. Takes about 10 minutes as you're working your way down.
See, it wasn't even 30 minutes. It was 10
Most of the
minutes.
hole had already been dug, and you're just sort of, a lot of it's falling down, and you make your way down. But by the time you get down there, the drunken singing seems to have dissipated. Someone's got a torch up. Who's got a torch up? So everything's dark down here, so keep track of your
Everybody's got
torches.
torches.
I'll do one too.
I'm assuming mine's still
Okay.
lit.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll do one too. I'll be like third one down the line.
Okay.
I'll have one that we can kind of see stuff about.
Okay. You probably don't want to light it up until you get down, but that's fine. So you have 2 torches out. You got plenty of light. You've got this stale, kind of fetid odor like wafting through the air. It's kind of thick. You can almost feel like sand and dirt on your tongue when you take a breath, clogging up your nostrils a bit. But Imoti leads you
Stings the nostrils.
a little bit. Imoti leads you to the edge of the tunnel, and you peek out, and you can see to your left, it's just a rock wall, but to your right, the cave extends, and those of you who are currently crouching can probably stand up a little bit more in that area. You
Stretch the back.
Yeah, you don't currently see anything, but there's the torchlight flickers probably almost all the way to the edge of the other room, which is maybe about 15 or 20 feet. And then you can see that there's like 3 different openings. There's a very tiny one. There's like a much bigger one that's kind of on, call it the southeast. And then there's another big one kind of on the southwest. And there's like a really tiny little, almost like a dug hole in between them. What do you want to do?
Is there any markings of footprints, markings on the wall, any
There's
sign of...
Definitely there's definitely traffic. There's been traffic through here. You can see shuffling of looks like footprints and something paw-like or beast-like on the ground. Nothing on the walls in terms of decoration or anything like that, though.
Is there a way to track where these markings are coming from or where they're going?
Go ahead and roll an observation check.
Is it plus anything or just straight
Nope.
2d6?
Observations just straight 2d6. It's just to get more info.
You just can't roll tonight. That's all.
Just get more. I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah.
You have to roll above average to get it. But yeah, you can't really discern like any sort of specific pattern. But you can. It looks like all 3 of the other directions have seen traffic. It's hard to distinguish how recent or how much, but all of them have seen traffic.
My vote would be something that's big. So one of the larger ones.
Sounds good to me.
Same.
Okay. So there's like southwest and southeast, basically. So west is kind of going back a little bit in the direction you've gone. Southeast would kind of be a different direction.
Let's go southeast then.
Okay. So you start moving. Actually, I said that backwards, but whatever. So you start moving, and you again, Imoti, you hear the sounds of dripping water once more. And you notice also on the ground as you're coming to what looks like another open area into the cave, it might be blood splatter. There's just like a big old pool of something dark and reddish, purpley brown mixed in with dirt and chunks of something, some kind of viscera. It smells awful. And it's right in front of you, and it seems to kind of trail off to the left as you move into, if you were to move into the next cavern.
So we're following it, right?
It's up to you. Just this
That's what we're doing.
big old chunky puddle in the ground, basically.
Like, do we look up? Like, is it dripping from above? Or
No.
It's just a puddle on the ground?
No, you don't see the signs of any sort of dripping yet, but you do see like this. It's just a chunky puddle in the ground.
Can I investigate these chunks? Because being an elder grog, I'm a real fan of chunks.
Yeah, you get up close to it, and what at first you thought might have been like viscera and blood is in fact just like rotten old plums that have kind of been mashed into this really disgusting stench. I need Tilda and Constance, and actually just make everybody do it because the odor is just so terrible. Just roll a grip check as you get a little closer, and even though it's not like human viscera, it's just overpowering. All right, everybody but Victor can lose a point of grip. Actually, no, wait. Add your wills. Sorry, I forgot.
My will's 2, so I pass.
Okay, so anybody who doesn't hit 9, go ahead and take a point of grip and deduct it. Anybody who passed, get an XP. All right.
That smells awful.
Well, yeah, you won't have to make that again for the nastiness of the plums. Now, as you get up close, you look to your left and you can see that the tunnels kind of go off a little bit further, and you can see that there's like a quick turn off, and then there's sort of a continued path forward. And again, these are all decently sized. They're probably like 6 to 7 foot tall, roughed out cave ceilings. And to the north is where you continue to hear that little dripping. But then to your right, we'll say south, you can see that the cave kind of becomes almost like a dead end, but you see like this peculiar looking rock, and you see like these little piles of sand on the ground here and there. Sand on the dirt. On the ground, excuse me.
I'm gonna try to move the rock, see if it's like blocking
Okay.
way forward.
Or see if it's valuable.
Okay. So you go up to the rock. The rock is probably about 3 to 4 feet tall. Roll a brawn test, a brawn check there, Constance.
Can you help her to improve it?
Sure, you can take an upper hand from that.
All right, and I need to add 2 to the results.
So
So that's gonna be so I have to drop the lowest, right?
no, you drop the lowest and you take the 2 best, add your brawn, and that's your score.
13.
Okay. So you're able, between you and Victor, you push past, and it seems to have been partially blocking some small little path. Like you can see, like there's this little path that, again, it's just like the one you came in. It's kind of this small little tunnel that you can squeeze through, and it begins to kind of curve upward. Looks like it might be like another way out somewhere.
Do we want to look around at all before we exit up this way?
Yeah, what's with the piles of dirt?
So you go over to the piles of dirt, and as you get close, you can see on the western wall, there's maybe about a foot tall worth of sand or dirt, and it looks like there was once some small hole in the wall, like a small enough for vermin, not necessarily for like people. It looks like something kind of burrowed through it and kind of left residue behind.
Okay.
Do you want to circle back to any of the other rooms that we skipped before we go on?
Yeah, maybe double back, go the other direction before we go through this hole in the wall that was covered by a giant rock, which might also be a giant boon if there might be something awful behind it. I'm just spitballing here,
We'll find out.
Okay.
Do we want to double back or keep pressing? What do you guys think?
I always like to go for 100% completion.
So let's double
Let's vote
back
for
then.
double back.
So you
We get all
double
the
back.
achievements.
So you double back, you start heading northward, which you think is northward towards the sounds of the dripping water. There is what looks like a corridor that extends off to your right, but the sound of that dripping water is still northward down the path, but you could turn off right as well. When you get up to this corridor and you listen down that tunnel, that kind of rightward tunnel, you hear the same singing distantly echoing through the tunnel itself. So dripping to the north, drunken singing at a distance down a corridor to the right.
So we're going to the right?
Yeah, let's chase down this drunkard.
Because what if he's the last person alive? Then we can definitely claim this estate.
And we can eat him.
This guy's always thinking about it. I love it. I love the way this guy thinks.
Elder Grog.
Okay. So
Secret ingredient.
you start heading after this drunken sounds of singing, and you go ahead and roll another thing here. Nothing to worry about. Nothing at all.
What you doing?
Okay. So you as you're moving, you suddenly hear the singing stop. As it gets louder and louder, the closer you get. You're kind of squeezing through this corridor. It's not too bad. You're having to crouch down a little bit. Anyone who's tall, you're getting closer. It's getting louder and louder, and then suddenly you hear another sound, like "shut up," and then the singing stops. This is maybe 25 feet ahead of you, like kind of around a small bend. You can hear it pretty clearly, and then you can hear like the vague sounds of voices, as if the screaming and singing has stopped. Now it's just like normal volume of speech.
Can we start sneaking around?
Yeah, wit test, please. Anybody who wants to sneak
I
forward, roll a wit.
I will do that. I also get upper hand since I'm small and sneaky.
Absolutely.
And I have shadow glamour, so I can help.
Is there any negatives to me failing it, or just not do it?
Just means you failed your to be sneaky.
So I'm just like clanking my swords on the edges of the wall. God damn it!
It's more like you
Um,
think you're being
yeah.
sneaky, but you're not being as sneaky as you think.
No, I got an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So all of you begin to start slowly creeping forward, sneak, 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 and you come around this small bend in the tunnel, and you see that in the middle of what looks like a fairly rocky room with a small depression in the middle, where you think it's a hole in the ground, there's like there's one creature maybe 3.5 feet tall, 4 feet tall, covered in some kind of terrible like pasty purplish color that's just urinating into the ground, and it's like tries to sing but then immediately gets shut down because on either side, the north and south side of this hole in the ground, there are two others, one of whom is carrying a kind of dragging a net on the ground, the other has some kind of piece of farming equipment in their hand, and they're like shushing him. You can see that there's like a path going further eastward, a path going northward, and a path going southward. But as you come around, Victor knocks a large rock loose from the dirty wall, and it clatters to the ground, and that immediately gets them to look up in your direction. And they see you, and they see the lights of your torches as well. And you hear them, alarm! And let's get into initiative.
All right.
All right. So there's 3 of them. So let's start with initiative. So initiative is just rolling 1d3 and adding your wits. So we'll do this one at a time.
D3?
Yeah, 1d3. So d6 divided by 2, basically. So I'm just going to be writing this down. In the future, I'll try to do a nicer thing for...
You said plus wits?
Yeah, 1d3 plus wits. And if you have any other specific modifiers from your advancements, which some exist, you can go ahead and add those as well. I'll start with Ashley. What did you get?
I got a 2.
Melissa?
And you're adding wits?
I'm sorry, Justin. Sorry, Justin, what's next?
Got a 1.
That's with your wits score?
I have no wit.
Yeah, I know. I wanted you
Got
to
him.
say
Okay, I
it.
see what we're doing here. It's been a little while.
All right, Melissa.
Are we going to have a channel point option where it's just shit on Justin for
Yeah,
like 2K channel points?
We got to figure out our channel points.
I also have no wits. It's a 3.
Okay, so Melissa got a 3. Logan, what'd you get?
4.
Okay, nice. And then let me roll mine. Oh boy. Oh, that's terrible for you all.
I don't like that. Stop.
So terrible for you all. It's not good. Do they have any wits? Hey, even they have wits. That's crazy. This is insane.
I don't have wits. I'm just a weird lady who lives in the forest again.
Okay. They get to go first. They got a 5. So they scream, "Ah!" And you can see that the one that's kind of urinating into the hole is a little bit behind on this a little bit. So, doesn't necessarily seem to be going as quickly as the other two. So I'm putting them on, one of them's going to kind of linger back. So the way combat works in terms of this game is that on your turn, you get to do a move and you get to do an action. Okay, so movement is zones. So for those of you who've played Free League, very similar. Our Free League zones, the idea of a movement is moving from one zone to the next. If you have a melee weapon, so if you can look on your character sheets. If you have a melee weapon, you can attack a creature in the same zone as you. If you have a long weapon, which is like a spear, you can attack one that's an adjacent zone. If you have a throwing weapon, same thing, adjacent zone. If you have a ranged weapon, like a bow or a crossbow, you can up to like 5 zones away you can attack. Right now, we're basically looking at like where you are is one zone, and then the kind of center of the cave up to the hole is a second zone, and then on the opposite side where the guy urinating is going to be a third zone. And so the 2 goblins that are going to go now, they're going to be one zone away, and they're going to charge in. And so the 2 of them are going to move in. The third goblin is going to drunkenly kind of pull up their pants a little bit and start moving more slowly. And so they're not going to get up to hit you, but the other 2 are. So one of them is going to go ahead and throw their net at. Let's randomize this. At Victor, and so Victor, it's just going to throw. It's going to make its attack. Let me roll here. That's a success, and so you all watch as they go, alarm! One of them hurls this net over at Victor, and it falls over top. And Victor, you can see that this is a crude net, but there's like these weighted something or other. It looks like cutlery even that's just been like bound together at the bottom of the net, and it's just weighing you down right now, and you are effectively grappled. The other one is going to charge in, and it's going to attack.
No chance to resist or
Nope.
dodge or anything.
No, it's way simpler. This one's going to go after Imoti, and so this one's going to charge in at Imoti, and it's going to go ahead, and it's going to make an attack. This thing is, it's like you can see it's just kind of got like some like cleaver from a kitchen, and it's like and comes charging in at you. Now, attacks like this, the way this is going to work is you roll 3d6s to attack. All right, if everything's standard, you roll 3d6s, and you take your you take their usually your two best die plus your skill. So if you have a weapon that relies on brawn, you add your brawn modifier. Now, what you want to try to do is you're trying to get the target number. So that's like, in your cases, for me to hit you all, I have to hit your armor, right? And for me, like the target number for my, like you guys don't necessarily know them all, but like you're trying to hit a specific number. Now, if you can hit them using some combination of your bonus and like the two lower die, you want to do that because the third die in your roll is going to be damage. And so whatever die you don't use to calculate whether or not you hit is then used for damage. If that third damage die is a 6, it is a critical hit, and a critical hit automatically causes an injury. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and roll this one public because I was rolling some of the encounter stuff private. So I'm going to roll 3 d6s because I'm coming up to attack Imoti. All right, and so I've got a 6, a 3, and a 4. These guys are going to be getting +1 on their attack, which means I can hit. It's just a question of whether it's a crit. So are you sitting at like 8, Imoti? Is that your armor? You're muted.
You wish.
Okay, so it's not? You're higher? What?
Wow.
Okay,
Is it public knowledge?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I can do. Yeah, I mean, like I can hit you no matter what because I could do up to a 10 right now. So, I'm gonna go. What are you talking about? Your armor says 8. It's right there. You have basic armor.
Wow, this is cheating. You can't look at my character sheet.
Yes, I can. So, with a 4 and a 3, and my +1 for my wit, that's going to be a total of 8, which hits him. My damage my damage die is a 6, which is a critical hit. And so now, what Imoti gets to do is Imoti gets to roll on the consequences table for injuries. So let me.
That's why you wanted to play this game. You just want to murder us all as much as possible.
That's why I want to play every game. So I don't have these ready for everybody, but I'm just going to roll it for you. There you go. So you lose 3 vigor is what happens. So you took 6 damage from the attack, and then your injury is you take 3 more. Does that bring you?
I'm dead.
Okay, so now you have to roll. Just roll a d100. Pick high or low.
I like the idea that I accidentally scraped something, and now someone just came and bifurcated his skull.
High.
Okay, so go ahead and roll a d100.
Jesus.
And you guys watch as this goblin charges in at Imoti, takes a cleaver, and just splits Emoti's head with it, and Imoti falls dead right in front of you.
I'm just like, oh God.
Imoti, you could go. Logan, go ahead and roll another character.
Oh no.
Oh my god!
I'm not kidding.
We're
Not kidding.
we're an hour in.
I told you it's a
Yep.
one shot. It's funny.
The game does recommend making 3 characters
Yes,
before
it
you
does.
start.
It does.
So
So go ahead.
There's There's a splatter
like-
of blood on my face.
Just so
It's like pooling, and so eventually you're just gonna be laying in all of his blood because you're trapped to the
Like
ground.
the beginning of Goblin Slayer.
it is. Oh my god! I hope it's not gonna go that way. Okay, so Emoti's dead, so he doesn't
Which one
go
of us
next.
gets what I think's gonna happen?
Constance, you're next.
All right. So I am going to
It's terrible.
use my halberd,
Okay.
which is long.
Okay.
Uh,
So you can
to
attack. You can attack either the one that just killed Emoti, or you can attack the
Yes.
one that threw the net, because that one's in an adjacent zone.
the one that just killed.
Yeah,
Emily.
because really, when you think about it, that net
Um,
was really obnoxious.
Well,
when
you are
think about
grappled.
the
You are
situation.
grappled. All right, go ahead.
Really
Constance.
messed up that he did that.
Okay.
It's-
Which, by the way, just so that anybody knows, there is a thing called a heroic rescue. Cutthroats are not allowed to do it.
Unless it's other
'Cause
cutthroats. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what the 50-50 was for. So like basically you flip a coin, and so if he would have rolled over a 50, he would have been at 0 and someone could have performed a heroic rescue. But then since he rolled under, he died and his head split open.
I like to also think it's like, you know, those movies that like do a really good job of like the sound creation of like the awful things that happen in those horror movies. Like so what happened in the head is like more like a thunk. You know,
Yeah.
it's just so very realistic. Yeah, that's what it.
It's the scene from Texas Chainsaw Massacre when the door opens up and there he is,
Yeah.
and it's just like, and oh god, I love that sound so much. All right, so Constance, you're rolling an attack at the one that just killed Emoti, correct?
Yes,
All
and I so my final number there is an 8.
Okay, an 8 will hit. And so what was the damage that you had on the other?
Sweet. By the way, my initiative is a -1 because of the halberd. It's a long.
It's okay, don't
and
worry about
long
it.
is a -1.
You'd be on the same as Tilda, and so you could just go. It's fine. Okay. So what was the damage you did?
I don't know. How do I
Oh,
know what damage?
You got to roll 3d6s when you attack. So roll.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah. So roll
I
an
did
extra
that wrong.
d6. Okay. So you can do 3 damage basically to it. Okay.
Yeah.
Done. Okay. So that one, it's still up. So you managed to stab at it, and you kind of rip it, and it's like, ah! And all right, then it'll be Tilda's turn.
Okay. I have had.
It is like
I'm nervous.
first combat, first turn, dead PC. I probably
Yep.
I got a crit.
Okay.
And everything.
I'm gonna hit the guy with the net with my quarterstaff.
Okay, fair enough. All right, go for it. 3d6s. All right.
We should have started this whole campaign with the different things like, I'm just out here trying to, you know, work on ends meet.
This
My
is
wife
just
just
a
had my-
one shot.
Put my
This is
kids
My
just a
wife
one-
just had a baby.
College.
just try to put my kids through college.
Finally got out of that low life that I had. My wife just had a baby. Things are going great for me. Anyways, let's go on this adventure with this Plumwine.
So Ashley, you're using a quarterstaff which has brawn as its stat. So what's your brawn?
My brawn is 1,
Okay, so
and I'm using it two-handed, so that means I get
okay.
+1 damage.
So taking a look at what you have, you would need a 7 to hit these, which you can. So you don't have +1. So you said you had +1 on brawn. Is that correct?
I have a brawn, yeah.
You have +1 brawn. Okay, so then that means you can take the 4 and the 2. You can add your bonus, which would hit it, and then you can
Okay.
use the 6 as crit damage. So you crit with your hit.
Hmm.
And so let me go ahead and roll an injury for it then, because 6 damage is not enough to kill it outright. But
Well, my thing does my
that's right.
it's-
It does your because you're wielding it two-handed. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that is enough to kill it actually. So you just take like a baseball swing or something. What do you do? How do you kill this thing?
Yeah, pretty much just like a psycho baseball swing,
Mm-hmm.
just like straight down on his head. So I kind of like hit for the temple
Mm-hmm.
to shake his brains up a little bit.
Yeah, you see like you hit it in
Kill
one
him.
side, and the other eye pops out, and the other side and kind of
Awesome. And
explodes
it's just
outward.
kind of like hanging.
yeah, just like blah.
I'm down for that.
And then eventually it falls down. Okay, so that one's dead. Then it comes to Justin's turn as Victor.
Now, I'm under this net. Does that impede anything that I do?
Yes.
So you are grappled. So let me pull up the grapple stuff. Okay, so you are restrained, which means you cannot move during your turn, but you can still take an action. To escape a grapple is an action, so you could take an action just to escape it. That means you have to pass either a wits or a brawn check to get out of it. But if you want to take another action, you can. But to do so would be against the odds, which means you would roll like an extra die and drop the lowest. So you're in range of the one that Constance attacked that killed Imoti. But it's up to you whether you want to spend your action to get out of the grapple or spend your action to attack or something else.
I'm gonna spend my action to attack since I'm in range. I'm going to use my fire and lightning strange advancement. So I'm gonna use a lightning bow. So I'm gonna do from under this thing. So basically, I'm just like because I'm stuck inside of the damn net.
Okay.
And so basically, it is I can spend an action and up to 3 points of grip. So what does that mean? I do.
Okay, so you can spend an action, so that's obvious. It's just your turn. Grip, it's up to you if you want to. It's up to you how much you want to spend, because I think it's like the damage or something like that is based upon how much grip you spend. So,
Does it ever deplete? What's the negative of using grip?
Okay, so the negative of using grip is that if you run out, you take an affliction. But there are things that you could potentially do to gain grip back. So resting would work, but you also, during the course of play, you can choose to voluntarily take like injuries and afflictions and such to reset your grip.
Because it says I can use up to 3 points of grip to make a will-based attack against an enemy within a short range.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it had to be a check with will,
Right.
And then the grip just bumps it up. Is that what happens?
What's this called again?
Fire and lightning strange arcane advancement.
And if it's against the odds, are dropping the highest.
Right.
So it says it's always an upper hand.
Okay, they cancel each other out.
Okay.
So
it's always an upper hand and deals damage equal to the die result multiplied by the cost in the grip. Okay, so the
Multiplied
grip
by the cost of
multiplies
the
it.
grip. There
okay.
you go.
All right, so I'm gonna use two. I'm gonna use 2 grip.
Okay, so spend
for
2. Roll normal because the grapple against the odds and the upper hand from the fire and lightning thing cancel each other out. So just roll normal. So roll 3d6s to make your attack.
And then a will because I have 1 will.
And add your will. Yeah. So roll your 3d6s.
Son of a bitch.
All right. So you've got, what's your will?
1.
Okay. You're good. 3 plus 3 plus 1 is 7, which is enough to hit this thing. You have 4 for your damage, and you said you spent 2 grip.
So it's 8.
So it's 8 damage. This thing is most certainly dead. What does it look like, however?
So because my wife watched this yesterday because it's the holiday season now and they're constantly playing in my house now. When Marv touches the faucet in Home Alone and then he gets shocked by it and turns into a skeleton for a second.
Okay.
That's what happens.
Okay, that's exactly what happens.
That's what happens.
All right, and then going last is actually that is going last. Go around to the start. The one goblin that this
Wait,
goblin
my corpse
creature-
doesn't get a turn?
No, your corpse is not.
Damn.
Like your head just continues to split.
They just splurt of blood just kind of.
You watch as this drunken creature covered in plum juice and having just relieved themselves stares at you all, stares at how quickly you just dispatched these 2 other creatures, and it'll turn around and it's going to run away. So it's going to spend its movement to move a zone, and then it's going to spend its action to move another zone. And you can see that it is now heading out of the tunnel, and that's to the east, like on the other side of the hole, running away from you. And so then we'll come around to Constance again.
I'm not particularly agile, but can I give chase?
Yeah. So right now it's 3 zones away, and so you can move 2 zones, and you can use your normal movement.
And I have a long weapon, so
you can use your normal movement to get within 2, and then your action would get you within 1, but you don't have another action. So that's your whole thing. But you do notice as you
even with a long weapon, I can't reach across the zone.
You can, but it has to be an adjacent zone.
Got it.
Okay, so it moved 3 away from you. So
Okay.
you notice that where it's at, it's starting to go up an incline. And the incline looks like rocks at first, but then you slowly start to see that there are these like wooden steps that are leading upwards. It'll be after that.
Can I try throwing my thing, even if it's not a thrown?
Yeah, you can always do that, but throwing weapons are just like long weapons, and they have to be adjacent zone.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so Tilda, your turn.
I will also follow.
Okay, and then it's gonna be Victor.
Yeah, I gotta take an action to get the thing off
Okay,
me,
so
right?
you're a little further behind, but so make your brawn or your wits check, whichever
So
one you prefer.
2d2.
Yeah, it's 2d6 plus whichever one of those mods are higher.
It'd be my brawn.
Okay, so you're just trying to like rip it free or something.
God, I am rolling so terribly.
Yeah. And you are unfortunately not giving chase as you remain
If only one of us had
stuck
stayed
in the
to help you.
gravel.
I'm sitting there, it's like, it's the end of this thing.
And the blood and brain matter of Imoti is beginning to ooze on top of you. Victor, roll
It's making my hand slip on the rope.
roll a grip check, Victor, as this is happening. As you just got left, and Imoti, your only friend in life, just died in front of you and is now bleeding their brain matter on.
Is it plus anything or just plus will?
It's a will. Yeah, grip check is will.
My rolls are just terrible.
It's okay.
But you got it.
Don't
Don't you?
See. What's your
Do you
will?
have any will?
I added in my will.
Okay, so no, he
Oh.
didn't. So take a point.
Damn.
Take a point of grip check. Take a point of grip damage.
Damn it.
Okay. All right. So this thing's going to continue to run, and it's going to look back at you. Actually, it's going to look back at Constance, and it's going to throw a fork at you. It's going and it's just going to throw like a piece of cutlery, I think, and then
Okay.
it'll move. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. Oh my God. It will miss. And so you just very easily dip your head to the side, and like the big old, it looked like it's like kind of like a carving fork, just goes, flies right past you. And it's like, and it runs up the stairs. But you can see him at the top of that stairs. He's at this point, he is 2 zones away. So your turn's up. You can spend your movement to get closer, 1 zone, and then you can spend your action because you have a halberd that has reach to attack it.
But at this point, I'm going to be up in the daylight.
It's not daylight, actually. It's still dark up there.
Okay.
By the way, it's even darker still. But you can see that there's the flickering of light on the inside, but it looks to not be outside.
I want to get up and assess the surroundings.
Okay, so
I don't
you
wanna,
take.
like attack it and
Okay.
not knowing what's there.
I'll say this: you move up a zone, roll an observation check. So roll 2d6s. You step a couple. Okay, 9 is a success. You look to be going into a building of some kind. This looks like maybe this was like you start looking around and you realize this could have been a root cellar at some point. It just you can actually see like on the walls of the cave like there's like some shelves and something like where there now that you're looking there's some kind of clay pots and sacks of stuff. And it's like you're crawling up a root cellar into a building. The stairs lead to like rough wooden floor, and that's where he's standing. And he sees you coming up. You still have your action. What would you like to do?
Hit him.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to bonk him over the head.
Go for it.
So 1, 2, 3. So I did not do particularly well. Now my brawn is a 2.
Okay, so you can get it. You can get up to an 8. So you can do
Yeah.
the 4 on the 1 plus 2, which is a 7, which is enough to hit him, and then 2 would be your damage.
Okay.
Okay.
I will do that.
Done. So you get up there, you slash him right across his arm, screaming out the whole way. Then it'll be Tilda's turn.
Can I also move up and hit him?
Do you have a reach weapon or a throwing weapon, or a long or a throwing weapon, I should say?
Mine says it's long. The quarterstaff.
Yep, you can do the exact same thing. It's kind of tight in here, but go ahead. You're basically both standing in a doorway, but it's not too
Oh
terrible.
no, 2d6 and I rolled 1.
3d6.
It's 3d6s for attacks.
3, thank God.
Okay, so
So 4, 5,
And
and
then-
then it's plus my will,
plus your brawn, right? Because you're
plus my
corpsed up.
brawn. Yeah. Okay. So just 5. So that would only put me at 6, so I don't
6
hit.
is a miss. Yeah, it's just hard to push past like the two of you in there. Victor, you want to make another attempt to get out of here?
Can I just concede and just lay here for the rest of my life?
Go ahead. Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll. Brawn or
This
wits?
net is
Oh,
just
we
too
want
much
you
for
to
me.
die
Brawn
by
or
your
wits?
broken will.
Brawn or wits?
This is a joke. This rolling system's a joke. Let's go back to let's go back to roll 20. This thing
I
stinks.
told you the idea. This foundry is so.
It hates me.
Go ahead and roll another grip check, as you can't see them anymore. Tilda and Constance are no longer here. Okay.
That's all my grip.
Okay. So you're gonna go ahead and take an affliction at this point. So I have.
I've rolled one good roll the whole friggin' night.
Do I have these up? I don't know if I have these up. What? It's injuries. I guess I didn't put these together. That sucks.
So that means I'm fine.
No, it
Son of a
doesn't.
bitch.
Let me go ahead and pull these up. These damn consequences. There's so many different books right now, and I always lose track.
You roll a d3 and a d6.
Roll a D3 and a D6.
And
Justin.
that's all I know so far.
Yeah, there's a
Oh,
chart.
I do. Okay.
Yeah, there's a chart.
A D3.
Where did I put? I thought I made a table.
And
I guess I
D6.
forgot to put those in.
Swear to God. I
Let's
can't.
type in D3.
No, I did. It's done. It's just I can't roll higher
All right.
than a quarter of what every dice is worth. It's ridiculous.
How do you get a quarter of a third?
You get a one.
It's math. Okay.
All right. Do you have the chart
the-
up, Melissa?
You rolled a d4, not a d3.
All right. I got it. So.
Oh,
Roll
I'm
the-
sorry. The
yeah, the
D3
All
is a
right.
thing.
So 2 1s, Melissa.
Okay, so
Even when you do it for me, it's garbage.
despair of worthlessness.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
So you should be able to see these in the sort of item compendium area.
Despair of worthlessness is a flaw. So you develop a deep and foreboding sense of self-hatred. You find yourself without a goal or motivation and often undersell your abilities to both yourself and others. May be characterized by meekness, inaction, or lack of confidence.
Okay. What's it called
that's
again?
your despair of worthlessness.
Just be under.
I got it. I just
It's a
put it in there
character
for you.
flaw.
So
You put it in for me. Okay.
yeah, it should be.
Where was it under though? If I want to look for stuff in the future.
Same place you found all the other stuff.
Consequences?
There's just a consequences folder. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. So that's what's happening as you are still stuck beneath this net.
I'm garbage.
Imoti
I
is
just can't get
still
up.
bleeding on you, and your 2 other compatriots have completely left you here. Now, fortunately, it's not dark here because you still have your own torch and everything. So there you go. All right.
You can see your tears.
We'll go around to the top. It's going to try. You can see that you're now inside of a building. The Tilda and Constance, you're in, it's some sort of room. There's a series of cupboards along the wall. There's what look to be like old, like baskets and things that have all sorts of, dried old fruit, like they're prunes and things and twigs and berries and stuff. But he's going to try to run away again. And he will first throw another piece of cutlery at you. He's like, ah! And he's just going to throw something. And then he will kind of run for what looks to be a door. So I'm going to roll 3. Oh, that's a good roll.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a crit.
Oh.
Because 4 plus 4 is 8 plus the 1. And then the 6 is a crit. So here we go.
This is a crit on the spoon throwing?
Yeah. I didn't say spoon.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. You lose 3 vigor. So
Is that me?
that is you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the exact same thing happens as Imoti as he throws what looks to have been some kind of steak knife right at you. You take 9, I think, so you take the 6, by the way, was the damage die. That's the crit. The exact same thing happened with Imoti, where you just basically took 9 damage all at once. How-
Well, that's a steak knife to the heart. Apparently.
All right. High or low? Roll a D100, call out high or low before you do it.
Low.
Okay, roll it.
And it's high.
And it is in fact a steak knife to the heart. Tilda, you don't even really see. You see her get hit and just. And then after a second, she just crumbles to the ground. And he's like, ah! And he runs for the door. So he steps basically 2 zones away from you. Tilda, what would you like to do?
I mean, Constance just like falls to the ground, right?
Grip check, maybe? Unless she
Um,
didn't like me.
I'm gonna check to see if she's alive because that's a little bizarre.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't know what happened.
Roll a grip check. I actually think, I'm not sure if that's a rule, but I like that. You just saw one of your compatriots just die in front of you.
Okay, so 2d6,
Yeah.
right?
It's a will test, basically. So.
Okay.
Okay, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, you're good. So you steel yourself together. You can tell that she's dead. And you can tell that this goblin is going for a door.
We
Okay.
forgot to check and see if Logan's character was dead. We didn't check.
I mean,
Just
we
go
saw-
and go. I check his neck like, my God, he's dead.
there's brains everywhere in blood. I think he's 2 away.
Yeah, so you can move and then attack if you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Okay, so you step forward and now you're swinging again. Go ahead and roll 3d6s. Oh boy. So it looks like you can go 3-3 and then
Yes,
plus
I'll
one
have to
for-
do the 3/3 for the 7, so 2 damage,
But you get plus
Or-
1 because you're using your in 2 hands. Okay.
so 3 damage.
All right. So it's not dead yet, but you get up there and you crack it again, and it looks like it's struggling to get the door open. By the way, you also hear the sounds of like stuff coming from the cupboards. Like you hear banging on the insides of these cupboards, these tall pantry cupboards.
Oh, that's frightening. Okay.
Okay. Melissa, go ahead and roll a new character. It's going to expend a turn to. I think he's going to try to burst through the door here if he can. So I'm going to roll a brawn check with him to see if I can bust down the door. He cannot. So with his action, he's going to try to knock the door down, and you see him slam into it and then kind of get a little stunned. I'm sorry, Justin.
Wait.
We skipped over you.
Wait, I'm confused. Odin's a part of the stream. Can I not bring in Buckeye? Is
Yeah,
that not...
you could bring Buckeye in. I don't care.
Okay. I guess I'll have
I
to.
skipped you because it doesn't matter because your character.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna die. This is
You're
obvious what's
been
happening here.
left alone. This is
Thanks for
great.
helping me, guys. Appreciate it.
This is
Uh, so I have to do a. I have to go back to my chat thing. So D6 2 plus 2. Here we go. Holy shit! I did it.
Oh, by the way, we were wrong, but I'm gonna let it go for now because we screwed it up. And if I would have told you beforehand, when you're reduced to 0 grip, you actually do die. You die of shock/heart attack, or you lose to will and run off. But you could have, prior to that happening, you could have voluntarily taken an affliction to reset your grip. So we'll say you did that because we've already moved to it because we've already given
So
you.
that means my grip's at 5 then, right?
So
Or we'll be
it's-
at 4 because I failed again.
You can reset your grip to 10.
Whoa.
Actually, so you have 10.
Even though I
grip.
started at 5,
I guess. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that means I'll be at 9 because then I did it again.
Okay.
So that's what I'm at.
All right. So go ahead and try to get out of this damn.
I should try and die earlier so that my grip's higher all the time.
This is why I said it's a
Got out,
learning
right?
game. We're figuring it out. So go ahead and roll to try to get
I
out.
did. I got a 14.
So you finally get out. You got your move.
It's like, oh, that was a nightmare.
Do you want to do anything with Imoti, or do you want to? You know which direction they went. Do you want to go in that direction?
Let me check his pulse real quick.
Okay.
Um,
He's dead.
Yeah. His brains in my. I pick his brains up and feel it with my hand.
Okay.
His brain's just been like squirting like blood on you the entire time you've been laying there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go after them. That's what I'll do.
Okay.
I'll go after them.
So then, what interesting thing happens is these things like there's something said, and you hear Tilda in the room from this goblin who just tried to bust the door down and like got stunned. But from the pantries and the cabinets, you hear, "Let us out! Help! Let us out!"
Oh, okay. So I want to try and kill this guy real quick.
Go for it. 3d6s. Oh yeah, I'm sure that's plenty right there. That's a good roll.
Yeah, so a 7, and that's not even including my brawn.
Oh yeah.
And then a 6.
You just clear knock
Plus
his
my
head out.
1.
You just take a baseball swing, and his head just rips from his neck and just bounces.
I want to hit his like jaw and just like just break it off.
Oh, for sure. Like his
Jesus
jaw just goes
Christ.
flying, falls to the ground.
I'll like take
What
a
did they
handful
do
of...
to us? They did nothing to us. Why
They
would you do
killed
that?
2 of my friends. I will collect some of his teeth.
We can say that
you-
Melissa's character was a friend.
what
But
do you-
Logan's more of
what do you-
an acquaintance.
What do you want to do with the sounds of these banging on the door?
I would like to. Is it the door or is it like the cabinet?
The cabinet doors, I mean.
I'm gonna go up to the cabinets and be like, "Who are you?"
So,
All right.
Logan, what do you say back?
I say,
What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that?
Ashley steps away,
Ashley's-
realizing that they're having an
Ashley's
intimate
dead.
moment, and leaves.
Ashley's dead. Oh my god. Melissa, what does your character say?
She goes, "What the fuck?"
It is about time that someone comes to save us.
Okay. So Tilda, you hear somebody do whatever the hell Logan just did. And then you hear somebody say it's about time someone came to save us.
You broke Ashley. Good
Ash is
job.
broken. Ash is broken. All right. What do you want to do,
I-
Ashley?
I try and open the doors, but the nice one first, not the weird,
Okay.
not the Logan's yet.
It takes a moment. It's like a little, like you can definitely tell that it's been jury rigged in some way to keep it shut, and you break it open. And what do they see, Melissa? What does she see when the door opens up? Cramped as well. What do you see?
So I am an elf.
Okay.
So that's me. I'm an elf.
All right. What do you look like?
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to figure out all of that.
Oh, it's hard to come up with descriptions for characters on the fly and have to describe them and use voices and all sorts of shit. Oh,
Okay.
that's a hard thing to do? Oh.
I mean, Logan did it. Why can't you do it?
Logan's clearly playing Satan. So Victor, you're coming up the stairs, by the way, and you see a body on the ground, and it's Constance. She has a big old steak knife in her chest, and she
I'm covered in blood head to toe.
She appears to be dead.
Like, that was tough. What's going on here? And I'm just like, did you see the end of the second season of The Boys?
Yeah.
I'm like Homelander at the end of second season of The Boys, just head to toe in blood. It's like,
Okay. And so we now have an elf in the room. We have Tilda. We have the dead body of Constance, and there is that coming from one of the cabinets.
And yeah, and I'll just be like, open that one
Victor.
to Victor. That's for you to open.
oh, okay. I was like, yeah, sure. Let me just wipe my hands off all this blood. Sure. Yeah, open this up. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Who are you?
Hey, what do they see, Logan?
my bloody muddled corpse.
What? No. You had to make a new character.
Oh, my new guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
your new guy.
Oh,
Um,
it's the
Sorry.
zombie body in there the whole time.
Oh my God,
was-
the clipping. Careful.
Sorry.
That's your zombie body in there.
So they see a tall, cut man wearing a cloak
Okay.
by the name of Belthan. Or wait, what? Belthuzar. That's my name.
Balthazar.
Balthazar. Okay, so Logan's new character is Balthazar. What's your new character's name, Melissa?
Pike of the Mountain.
Pike of the Mountain. Okay.
I re-rolled an extra character, and her name is also Tilda. At least that's what the generator says.
Fair enough.
So,
There's also the banging on one other cabinet. Like, hello? Help me. Hello? Help. It's on the other
Oh
side.
my
of
god,
the
looks like we're all fine here. Might as well move on, guys.
I'll go open it.
I am an NPC with key information about what to do next.
Well, there's nothing else we can do in this room, I guess. This might as well just head to the next room.
So you open that door, and you can see that there is this kind of sickly looking man. Ratty clothes at this point, but you can tell that they once were very nice looking clothes. It's like they've been stuck here a while. Sunken eyes, very thin, like they're kind of do you have any food? I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten in forever. Please.
I give him some of my rations.
And he just eats all of them.
What the fuck?
I'm
Well,
so hungry.
I know where to find 2 other sources of rations. I'll be right back, guys.
You can totally do that. So he introduces himself as Yoren. He says, "Oh goodness, oh it's been such a nightmare. You came to save me? How did they send you from town to save me? They think so well of me, clearly. Are there more of them
Yes.
around? Are they here?
What? Well, we found 3.
Did you see her?
2.
The matriarch?
No.
Oh, we need to be...
And I'm terrible at talking to people, so I maybe should not be this person.
Well, Justin just get up and went away, and the other 2 of them were in cabinets, so...
Okay.
It's
I'll
kind of on
continue.
you at this point.
I'm not a people person, so if I have to do any NPC checks, it's negative for me.
I worked as a sommelier at the vineyard up until... I don't even know how long it's been. How long have I been missing? Clearly they know in town, because I'm very well respected as a sommelier.
Well,
We
They
just
were-
had the ceremony. Am I part of the adventuring group, by the way?
Sure. We'll say you were, you and Logan's character were a previous group that was sent up here to scout it out. So you're part of the same company.
yeah.
Your commander neglected to tell you that he already sent some people forward and hasn't heard from them in like a day or 2.
We're the second group, apparently.
Well, we need to leave and just leave and just burn the whole place to the ground. Just
What do you
terrible
mean,
things.
matriarch?
Oh, Madam Plumwine, she and the others they've been here by themselves for so long, just gorging themselves on the plum orchards. They've grown hideous and sickly, and she slaves away in her kitchen in the pools of the small, gross things gestating into God knows what. We shouldn't be here anymore. This place is abominations.
Well, we like. There are things that we need to gather first before we can go, but we can point you in the direction to leave, or you can stay with us.
I'll stay with you. Please protect me. Please.
I've killed a few of these. I feel okay.
Oh,
I walk up. I go, don't worry, you'll be safe. And when I say safe, like you get all sweaty and the water starts going on your face, and then you start breathing, and like spurts of water come from your mouth. That's what's happening with the blood onto him. Don't worry, buddy, you'll be safe. And he's like,
is this wine? Oh no, it's not.
oh yeah. It's wine. Yeah.
So, you see him kind of get a little queasy. So
Can we not kill our NPC with wit checks, please?
Balthazar and Pike of the Mountain, you're able to go through some of the baskets and such and find some of your gear in the room, so you're useful again. You can see that there is a door, an actual door, wooden hole. It seems to be heading southward. And then there was also the stairs that go back down into the underground tunnels. What would you like to do now that 2 of your friends are dead?
Yeah, I feel
Second.
like we should speed run this a little bit and try and find the recipe in GTFO.
I get my head split open again, I swear to God.
It's so funny.
What's the worst that can happen?
It only takes like 2 seconds to make a new character. It's so easy.
It's true, very quick.
True.
So
I
And
have
I've
some
already thought
preps.
of a compelling,
I'm so sad because the Elder
some
Grog
traits
stuff.
for him.
That's gonna.
I know. I was excited about that.
That's
And
gonna-
immediately just die.
That's gonna.
I'll have to bring it back.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
All right.
Okay. So
Yes, I have an elf that used to be a beggar
nice. Okay. So.
because it didn't pan out.
Oh God.
Oh no.
All right, I'm
That's
just
what it says
gonna.
in the book.
have a
I'm
good night,
reading what
everybody.
it said in the
Friendon's
book.
not here. Friendon's not here.
Oh,
Read,
God.
read
All right.
it out of the book.
So.
Wait, we need to summon him.
Right. He probably is. Somewhere. Fredden's like, a pun was just made. Ugh. Okay, so you have two ways to go. You can either try to go through this door that the goblin had trouble opening, or you could go back down the stairs and continue exploring the tunnels.
Let's finish this. I think we're all fine.
The fact that he was trying to go through that door makes Tilda wanna check out and see what's there.
Okay.
Can I do an observation check to look at the door and see what would it take to open it?
Yeah, it's not locked. It's like something's barricading it on the other side. You don't have to roll a check. It's like you can tell there's no keyhole or
Okay.
anything. It's just like when you go to open it, because it's a push door, it seems to just something on the other side is preventing it from opening.
I am not for pushing of things, so someone else might want to take this task on.
I could knock it down.
All right, go for it. Roll a brawn check. And don't forget, by the way, everybody, that if you have equipment that you think might help you, just say how you might be using it, and that might get you an upper
Like
hand.
a crowbar.
Yeah, like if you have a crowbar right now, it would be perfect to use one, and you can.
Well, I have a crowbar.
Okay, so roll this with the upper hand. So 3d6s.
Oh, gross.
Drop the rolls. Oh god.
6 plus 2, so nope.
Yeah. You are able to open it, but it's very, very difficult, and it makes a ton of noise as the door splits. It doesn't actually open; it just splits, and you hear a cracking sound. Hey, Bert. Yeah, who doesn't keep a crowbar in their back pocket? Is that a crowbar in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? But you split the door open, and it makes a horrible racket, much louder than you probably wanted to. You can see that you are inside a house. There is a hallway that unfolds before you. Looks like there's you can go to the left. Looks to be like an open archway into a different room. You can go to the right, and it's a long hallway. There looks to have once been a nice rug on the ground that has been traipsed over with mud and plum juice and blood. You can see that various pieces of artwork have fallen from the walls and collapsed into the ground as well. But you seem to be in the estate, in the house itself. What do you want to do? You just made a ton of noise. What do you want to do?
Should we do a sneak check? I guess we just go in and look in the vicinity, see what's going on around us, see if there's any sign of life or people that's around us. We're not being sneaky anymore, obviously. We made a ton of noise.
Yeah. Okay.
Would we have like an idea of where the kitchen would be located?
You have an NPC who is working here, who might
True.
have that information. But you do
Tilda's
hear
gonna like.
you
Oh,
hear
go
this.
ahead.
You hear the sounds of footsteps approaching from through the door to the left.
Do we have time to hide?
You can certainly try. So go ahead and roll some wits. If you want to try to hide, go ahead and roll a wits check. Target is 9.
Is that plus your will?
Plus your wits. Wits
Wits,
is
okay.
sneaky.
Just kidding. I fail.
Okay. Anybody else trying to hide?
No,
Okay. All right.
I fear no man.
So you walk up and you see, or like you're standing there, and maybe in the middle of this broken doorway, and you see that these 3 small folk approach, dressed in fine attire. Each of them are carrying pool cues, and they look at the door, and they have this like strange look on their face. They look at you standing in the middle of the doorway. They're Balthazar, and says, "All right, what's this now? Why are you going breaking the door here? That's just completely inappropriate." And then you can see that the 2 behind her are like snickering, like.
Can I swing at him?
Yes, you absolutely can.
All right, I'm gonna swing at the one on the left who's snickering
Right to the
Okay,
point.
you just
with
wanna,
my war
Would
with
you
my
like to
war
say
hammer.
anything first? first or Jess?
Okay, go ahead. We'll say this happens, and then we'll go into initiative. You'll get a shot off here, and then we'll go into initiative.
Cool. Yeah, I say, how dare you laugh at me as I swing my two-handed warhammer at
Okay.
the smallest snickering one.
So heavy weapons, okay, they crit on 5s and 6s actually.
Nice.
So go ahead and roll your 3d6s. All right. So what's your brawn?
2.
So 3 plus 2 plus 2 would be 7, which is enough to hit. And then
Okay.
you crit.
Oh.
And so I'm going to go ahead and roll the injury as you go up to the one that's snickering. I don't know why this is being so weird. Okay. I'm going to roll that again. And so you are going to... It loses 9 vigor. How do you kill this thing?
So my warhammer has some sort of dark magic in it. So if you're looking closely, you'll see that when I'm gripping it, that my hands look very old and decrepit. And as you look closer at my arm, it starts looking more healthy and natural. So it actually looks like almost like dead tree vines are gripping this hammer. And when I bring it over my head and smash this small halfling, you'll see part of his like essence almost kind of get absorbed into this hammer, and you'll see that my arms slowly kind of regain some of their health more distally towards my finger. Not a lot, but
Nice.
you'll see partially that my arms look more healthy as this halfling's life force is absorbed into my warhammer.
And the two of them look down, like in shock. Like the one that was just talking, eyes wide. The other one that was one of the ones snickering suddenly screams out, "Alarm!" at really like loud, kind of a loud value. And let's go into initiative. So go ahead and roll 1d3 plus your wits, and let me know what you get. I'm just gonna roll mine.
I get a 0.
All right.
Justin gets a 2.6 repeating somehow.
I don't know what Justin does. He just...
How does...
Yeah,
he
3.
rolled 1d6 divided by 3 plus 1.
Wait,
He
are we
rolled it-
all rolling?
Yeah, everyone's in initiative now. Yeah.
Okay.
This thing doesn't do order of operations. I don't understand.
It does do order of operations. You're just
No, I'm
divided
a
5
teacher.
by 3, and then you plussed it by 1.
I'm a teacher.
So I'm gonna
Okay.
say that Imoti was he started the fight, so he's up there.
Whoa! It's Balthazar now.
I'm sorry, Balthazar, the ghost of Imoti. Tilda, what'd you get?
I got a 1.
Justin, what'd you get?
3.
Melissa,
3.
and what did you get there, Balthazar?
I got a 0.
Oh God. Okay.
I have a -1 initiative with my warhammer. So.
Melissa and
Oh,
Justin.
that's
my
right. I have a
my
-1
Warhammer-
also.
does have a +1, so I guess I know it's not really relevant, but
For damage, yeah, you did
Yeah.
way more damage than necessary to kill it.
So I
Justin,
have a 2 for initiative.
all right, so Justin, go ahead and roll another d6. Tiebreaker. Okay, Justin, you go first.
All right, so I'm going to use lightning. How far away are these? Were you close to these guys?
Yeah, like I would say there's like right now, like there's the hallway, which is where they're standing. There's the pantry, which is where you're standing. 2 separate zones. So you're all like you didn't step through the door. The person who was furthest ahead was Balthazar, and so I'll say Balthazar and the rest of them are in the hallway, one zone, and then you're a zone away. But you could move and attack easily if you wanted.
All right, so I'll create a lightning axe. I'll do a grip +2, so it puts me down to 3.
Okay.
And then it's will, so it'll be how many d6s? 3d6s?
3d6s to attack unless you have upper hand or against the odds.
I always have upper hand.
Okay, so in this case, roll 4d6s, drop the lowest, and then figure out how you're gonna.
And then
assign
plus
it.
my will, right? Because it's a will roll.
Yeah, so roll 4d6s. All right, so first thing you do is you drop the lowest. So we're gonna drop the 1 that you rolled, so it leaves you a 3, a 4, and a 2. You need to hit a 7. Do you have any? What's your modifier that you're adding to this?
It's when it attacks, it does double the damage.
What's the to
What's
hit
your-
modifier? What's the will?
what's your wits?
Is it
Oh,
or
1.
Okay, so you can do. It looks like, and you need to hit 7. So the 4 and the 2 plus 1 equals 7, which means your damage die would be 3. How much grip did you spend?
2, so it would be 6.
So 6 damage, and you do not kill this thing outright. However, you have burnt clear through its beautiful clothing, and just there's this huge kind of blackened, burnt area of the shirt, and it's like screaming much like a goblin might. Next up are the goblins themselves, who will not move any further, as they will turn directly towards Balthazar, and they're gonna gang up on him. So one of the things you can do as the NPCs, if you have two identical creatures attacking one creature, they basically get upper hand. So they're gonna get the upper hand as they both attack. There you go. That's how it went. Bert. I love the goblin voices. Yeah, I can do other voices than Southern gentlemen. Bert thinks like Bert's like yeah, that Gantu voice is like everywhere. Yeah, it's so easy to do. Oh, thank you for the bits. We'll make that a reroll. So at any point. Oh shit, that's the other thing, by the way. Anytime you all want to reroll a die, we haven't covered this. Learning game. Anytime you want to reroll a die, you can spend a grip to exert yourself. And for every grip that you spend, you reroll a die. The die can be it could be from your own roll, or it could be from an NPC's roll. So that you can force like the enemy to reroll something. It has to be you have to declare that before like they determine the effect of it. So if we're saying like, okay, I rolled it, if you see me rolling a 2 and a 4 or something like that, you'd be like, all right, I want you to reroll the 4 before we decide like, oh, that would kill you. Like you have to announce it before the effect is revealed. He's calling me monkeys now. All right, so they're going to attack with the upper hand. They have pool cues, and so I'm going to treat these like brawn weapons. They don't have any brawn, so it's just going to be straight up roll. So I'm going to do 46s. This is, again, upper hand, dropping the lowest. So I'm going to drop that 3. And I'm going to get a 9 for my target, and I'm going to crit with a 6.
All right, so I just want you to reenact this like the scene from Shaun of the Dead where they're beating up on the main guy from the Winchester.
Do you want
when Queen's playing in the background?
Do you want to exert a grip to have me re-roll one of the 6s?
Or you're gonna die again.
Sure.
Okay, so you can also spend 2 grip if you want to have me re-roll both 6s just to be safe.
Sure.
Okay, so
I'll go down to 3 grip.
That's fine.
What?
I literally just rolled 2d6s again.
I'm gonna spend 2 more
gosh.
grip.
Once it's rerolled, it's rerolled. You can't reroll a reroll dice.
Oh my god. So I'm gonna crit. I'm critting.
Thank God he had a nice deep character arc he was creating there.
I'm gonna run out of ideas here pretty soon. So
You got the insta death one.
yeah, it's
You
okay.
are dead.
All right, I'll reroll my new character. 2 deaths in how long have we been? Just under 2 hours.
But you had such a lovely description. It was wonderful.
It was so
Some
good.
memorable.
He
times.
put really cool descriptors into this guy. Clearly is cursed by this weapon he uses to smite his enemies. It refuels his
Oh god.
his vigor and health.
Suddenly
And in one shot he's dead.
somewhere in the house, Queen starts playing. And like they just start circling around him and just beating him on the head until they just bash his head in, and he falls down dead. Okay, well shit. Next up is Ashley. What would you like to do?
Do I hear another rattling in like a different cabinet?
You
in the
hear
back that is open?
you hear like there was a trunk that you didn't see that had a canvas over it. It's like, what about me?
Okay, I'm gonna go let.
One of these
Whoever
is almost
Logan
dead.
is.
One of these is almost dead. He's not here.
Oh,
so
okay.
Go ahead and take your turn.
I'm gonna hit him.
Okay, go ahead. So funny.
3d6.
Oh, this game's great. It's so easy to kill people.
Okay, Jeff. I got 7 and I 6 crit.
You were targeting. Which one were you targeting?
The one who has not been injured.
Okay. All right. So let's roll that injury. Loses 2 vigor. That's enough to kill it. So how's it look?
So I like kind of I like have like the thick end of my whatever I've got, my quarterstaff, and I just kind of like I'm gonna like yell four, like I'm gonna golf, and I just hit him like right under the chin and like snap his neck.
And he collapses to the ground, dead. It goes over to would have been. Actually, I think I skipped Melissa. Melissa, it's your turn.
Okay. So I am going to. I've got a spear which is long, so I'm gonna try to poke somebody in the eye.
Okay, so go ahead. Oh man, I killed 2 of Logan's characters. One shot him twice.
I have no brawn.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to use the 6 to hit. So the 6 plus the 2 to get to 8 to hit, and then the 2 for the damage.
Okay, that's enough to kill him because he had already taken a bunch of damage. So both.
So straight through the eye.
You know what I love the best is that I had the 2 6s. I said, okay, you could spend those grip points to reroll them, and I rerolled them, and I got 2 6s on.
2 6s. Oh my god.
Insane. It was just meant to be. Okay.
It was.
Look at him.
It was.
Think of what he's doing to his dog right now, man. I'm just kidding. This dog's bigger than him. It is big old
Odin
bloodhound.
is huge.
Odin's huge. Okay. You go back, you open, and there is yet another person back there coming to help you. I'll let Logan describe it later, but we'll have another person in the party. You hear from Yoran, who says, when you ask him about the kitchen, he says, down the whole second door on the right. But are you sure you want to go there? She is a dangerous woman.
Well, but I have job to do.
Okay, I'll wait in the hallway.
like I don't have very much wit, and like so I was told I have a job, so I'm gonna do a
Sure.
job.
Okay.
As long as we have like people that keep coming out of cabinets to help us. we'll
Okay.
be okay.
So you move down the hallway, and we're at 2 hours, so we're going to accelerate this. You move down the hallway. A couple doors on the left and right. And,
I'd like to check every door and every hallway.
yeah. The first door on the right goes
No,
into
I have work at 6 a.m.
some sort of
Pity.
pantry. You find a couple old silver goblets and stuff, so you can write. We'll say
What type of dry goods do they have in this pantry? What type of? I'm sorry.
Rats.
Victor,
They
go
have
ahead
rats.
in your treasure section. You can type. You found 1 silver goblet
Silver goblet.
and a bunch of rotten blunts. But you get to the second door and you hear the sounds of like talking through the door. There's a heavy wooden door, and you smell like just the most awful, terrible smells on the inside. What would you like to do? And you can hear voices. Spam, lots of spam, so much spam.
She's gonna like look back at the group and just be like, Vanna White Hands, like, do we go
Arms
to the
like,
door?
I don't know what you're trying to.
Beer up.
What do we hear?
So
I want to like listen at the door.
roll an observation check.
Okay,
Anybody
so I haven't-
anybody wants to do that can go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
What is that? 2d6?
2d6s, no bonus, unless you have something else, and you have to get a 9.
I swear to God, this rolling for me is the worst on the planet.
How good?
Okay, you can't make out clear communication, but it sounds like there's a womanly voice, kind of and like 2 of those high-pitched voices that you've heard before, like, and then you hear like this craggedy, like, you can't
I have a
figure
book
out what
of
they're saying.
languages. Can I get an assist with that?
It's an observation check, so I'll say you could have rolled it at the upper hand, maybe. So go ahead and roll an extra d6 to see if that would have helped you. And so with your previous 3, it would have. Yeah, it sounds like. Yeah, you can hear it. And actually, listen. It just sounds like some kind of broken small folk language. Like it's got a little bit of common, but almost like an accent in a way. But like it's like a kind of common shorthand among small folk. They seem to be She's like barking orders and telling them like to go get ingredients here. Like, hand me this, half a cup of that. You know, give me that flask over there. Looks like she's barking orders, and like two people are like responding. And like, here you go, matriarch.
Okay, so I'll let everybody know that there are three. There are two in there, and then there's her. She definitely seems to be in charge. Are we weapons out? Running in?
Sounds good.
I mean,
What do we got to lose? You know, we have an endless portal of cabinets that has an army of people behind it.
Oh god, that's why one shots are fun. You just say, you say fuck it.
yeah, let's just fucking go in.
Fucking go
Let's do
in.
it.
It's just going there screaming. Ah!
Okay. Do you want to? So I'm gonna say. Okay, I'll say this: if somebody can pass a brawn check to bust the door down, and you pass it, I'll give you a surprise on the first round.
I'm not gonna roll it, so somebody else roll it.
I have a +0, but I'll roll it just.
I have a +1.
I have a +2, but I have a -35 on everything else
Alright.
in my stats.
Logan, so they went down the hall, and there's a second door on the right that like Yorin led them to the kitchen. They listened in and they heard the sound of a womanly voice giving directions to two other goblin sounding figures, talking about like, you know, fetch this from the cells. I need like a half a cup of this. It looks like they're cooking or something inside. They decided that they want to bust the door down and just surprise them. So roll a quick. We said we took an extra one of your characters who was in a trunk somewhere, and so they found somebody else.
All right.
We're just
So-
saying send it, and we're going in there.
Yeah, we're just saying fuck it because Ash is gonna go soon. So it's a
All right,
learning
so
game.
my
It's just a
charac-
learning
my-
game.
I'm gonna kind of keep this one a little shorter because who knows what's gonna happen.
Do you have any brawn bonus?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh
Okay.
god.
My name is Yvonne.
I like it.
Lendl, are you a tennis player?
So who's rolling to break this door?
I rolled it. I get a +0.
Well,
Melissa!
I was gonna say one person.
Oh,
One person. I really like it, Bert. It's a little rough around the edges here and there because like the rule book's a little but they're reprinting the rule book from a Kickstarter I backed, so I'm hoping like the new rule book from what I've seen is a little cleaner. But I actually really like a lot of the rules. I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's fun to me. So,
if anybody helps me, I can roll it at upper hand.
well, that's what I was gonna say before
I
you
wonder if
rolled
the
it.
guy who made this game was primarily a GM. I'm just curious. A GM frustrated with asshole teammates. Oh, it's like a great new system, guys. We should definitely play it.
I really like it.
Really take some time in creating the whole backstory of a character. We're gonna
No
have a
one
great time.
said to do that. We made characters in like 5 seconds
Specifically says
before we went
don't
to
do that.
stream. We literally said not to do that. It's a little bit like DCC, like Dungeons and Classics, in that like,
Yeah.
so DCC, like when you do funnels, you basically make like 3 characters or something to start, and like or 4 characters, and then like if you survive, you go from level 0 to level 1, and that's when you actually start paying attention to your character and caring at that point. So it's a little like that, I think, in some ways. I was going to give you the upper hand for whoever, like for like, you know, 2 upper hands, because I figured Victor and Tilda would help.
Yeah. Well, you never roll more than 3d6
That's
anyway.
correct. That's
So,
correct. So
I rolled a 3.
So you break open the door, but it takes a second try. So you're like slam your shoulder into it, and it broke a little bit, and then that got like they were ready, and so then you burst into it again, and you break it down.
I wouldn't have done any better.
But at that point, you can see that they're at the ready. You see, I'll show you what you see. You see this massive woman who's got to be 340 pounds with this saggy, crooked face, and you see like these 2
Yo, girl, what's up?
plum relish covered goblin small folk creatures. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and share this with you all so that you can see what you're about to die to. Okay.
Yo, girl, how you living?
So that's what you see. This big old
Gross.
300-pound woman. She's got this giant ladle that she's wielding in two hands. It's dripping this sort of like blue drip. You can see that there is a little flask on the ground, like she just like, and she's like wiping her sleeve against her mouth as if she just drank something. And you can see that the other two have like those cleavers in their hands that killed Imoti before. And they scream and they start charging. So we're going to say the hallway is one zone. We're going to say the immediate entry into the kitchen before what looks like a cabinet island, like an island section of the kitchen. And then on the opposite side of that, where there's a big old cauldron where the woman is standing next to, we'll say that's the third zone. So there's 3 zones. So there's like zone 1 is the hallway, zone 2 is the first half of the room, zone 3 is the far half. You can also hop on top of the island and everything. So roll initiative. I gotta roll 2 different initiatives.
You rolled our initiative, right?
I don't know. I have no.
It's plus will or plus
idea.
wits? I keep forgetting.
Wits.
Wait.
This is the D3, right?
Yep.
Bert should join us for one of these if he
Oh,
wants
I
to
see.
try
Yeah.
it.
I should have posted because like we only had 4. We had a room. I could have gotten it.
All right, now I got it.
1
Hey,
plus.
it's a whole number. Look at that.
Oh God.
I like that she's both able to keep an eye on us and on her mixture that she's doing.
Sir Hudson. All right. Let's do this a different way. Anyone get a 1?
Me.
Okay. Anyone get a 2? Anyone get a 3?
Justin.
I have a 3.
All right. Anyone get a 4?
Melissa.
4.
Okay. Would you get Logan?
5.
5.
All right. Justin, roll a d6. Tiebreaker. I'll roll another d6. We both rolled 6s. Yeah, I got him.
That's about right. Okay,
Yep.
we're good.
All right. So then we're going to start. Logan, your new character. Do they have a name? Did you pull her?
I'm not gonna make a last name yet, but yeah, it's
It's
Yvonne.
Yvonne.
Yvonne. Okay, so Yvonne,
Sorry, I
that's right.
just
That's right.
updated it.
Yvonne Lendl. So Yvonne, you see this big woman. You see these 2 other creatures on either side of this island. What would you like to do?
Run for my life.
Let's get a little combat music with that. climax of this.
I mean, I'm just gonna keep swinging, I guess.
Okay, so
I'm gonna-
you can get.
I-
It's 2 zones to get to her. It's 1 zone to get to one of the goblins.
I should probably avoid the goblins. You said you only move 1 zone.
You can move 1
But-
zone.
If the range is short, does that hit the next zone? I have a
what-
throwing
yeah,
whip.
You're,
A whip that's a throwing type.
from here without moving. You can attack either of the 2 goblins that are flanking the kitchen island. If you wanted to attack her, you can either try to climb on top of the kitchen island and hit her from there, or you can move into the zone with one of the 2 goblins and attack from there. So it's kind of up to you.
I'm going to kind of get as far away from the goblins as I can and attack the Big Bertha.
Okay, so you can either move into one of their zones, or you can climb atop the kitchen island and
Yeah,
attack
let's-
her from there.
Yeah, let's get the height bonus going.
Okay, so roll either a wits or a brawn check, whatever you prefer.
Let's do wits.
Oh, nice, Bert.
I got an 8. Feels bad.
Okay, so you sort of start to climb up, and you stumble a little bit, but you manage to get up there. I'm gonna give your attack against the odds, as you're a little bit crooked up here, so you still climb up, but your attack roll will be against the odds.
So you still roll 3d6, or sorry, it'll be 4d6,
Before-
but you take the biggest one away.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so you're attacking her. Go right ahead.
So one of the 6s disappears. So I have a 6, 2, and a 3. And we don't know her armor, or
You
we
don't
do
know
her?
it yet. You don't know it yet. This is the first time.
All right, let's go with. I'll do the 6 and the 2 for the attack, and the 3 for the damage.
Okay. That will go through, and so 3 damage. Okay. Got it. And so Your whip strikes, kind of cuts into one of her big, meaty, sagging forearms. Dang!
I thought that was going somewhere else for
Yeah.
a second.
No, it's a forearm. Like the head's hanging out. She's like, ah! She's very upset with you. So next up, it's gonna be Melissa.
Okay. So I am going to spend a point of grip for Weapon Master. So now in moving forward, my everything is going to be upper hand with my spear.
Okay. So again, you are within range if you wanted to, without moving,
one of the goblins.
to one of the goblins. But if you wanted to attack her, you'd either have to move into their space or do like Yvonne did and climb on top of that island in the middle.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go after the closest goblin.
Left or right?
To left.
Okay.
So I've got a 5, a 5, and a 6. So that's gonna hit and crit.
Okay, let's roll that crit then.
What do I roll for a crit?
I don't think it's available to you.
Okay.
I got it. Lose 5 more vigor, and you walk up and just you one shot this goblin. How does that look?
I aim for the belly button with my spear. So I'm just like right through the midsection.
So he goes, ah! Just give up! And just falls down dead.
I
Okay.
gotta like push it off of my spear.
Okay. The other goblin, the goblins will get to go next. One of them's dead now, but the one on the right will actually get to go. I think seeing that Yvonne is attacking the matriarch, it'll go ahead and climb up onto the table and like, no, leave mother alone. And I'll kind of climb up.
I'll just go ahead and start rolling my new character now.
So I'm gonna roll to get up. See if it gets up easily. It does not, so it's gonna have the same problem, and it's going to have against the odds on its attack against you. So I'm gonna roll 4d6s, drop the highest. So it's going to drop that 6, but I will be able to do. Is a 7 good? Is 7 good on you there, Yvonne?
It still says armor's 8. Is armor always 8?
You should have basic armor, which gives you +1, and I think you start at 7. And
Okay.
I think you get 1 from your basic armor, which puts you at 8. We'll double check that later, but for now, we'll say it's a miss, as you are able to just at the last second kind of swipe it away.
Thank God.
Victor, you've finally seen one of Logan's characters survive a round. What would you? You're inspired. What would you like to do?
Oh my god. I'm gonna pull out my sword, and as I pull out, it electrifies with lightning,
What?
like a god.
Okay.
And that's what I'll do. So can I engage her? Am I close enough to engage
You
her?
would need to do the same thing that Logan, to climb on top of the table, which I'm going to ask for either a brawn or a wits check, and if you fail it, your attack will be against the odds because you're stumbling onto the island.
I'm close to the other goblins, though, right?
You're adjacent. You're in an adjacent zone to one of the goblins.
So I'm gonna get to the goblin. I'm gonna strike him with my sword then.
Okay.
So I'll do that.
Can your attack hit from a zone away?
Yes, it says an enemy within short range.
Yeah. So
I
like
guess?
you don't have to move. You can just attack the goblin from there.
Yes, I'll do that.
Okay. So go ahead.
So that is, I'll use 2 grip,
Okay.
put me down to 1,
All right.
and it's 3d6s plus my will, so it'll be 12.
Okay. So 3D. No, it wouldn't be 12. It's pick 2 die. So you rolled a 4, a 3, and a 4. 2
so
die.
2 4s, so it'll be 8,
Okay. Plus your will is 1.
be 9.
Okay, so you pick the 4 and the 3, and then you can save one of the 4s for your damage. And so you do 4
Okay.
damage times 2
Is 8.
is 8 damage. So what does it look like when you kill this goblin outright?
So I pull it out of my sword. By the gods, I will strike you down. And I basically slice him in half vertically, then come back around in a spin move. It's one of these, right? You ready? You doing it?
Mm-hmm. Keep going. Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Okay. All right, so next up is...
Record. Okay, all right. It didn't work the way I hoped it would. And then I slice him horizontally. So he's in 4 separate pieces.
Okay.
That's how I deal with him.
All right.
And he's perfectly charred into 4 perfect steaks. When he drops on the ground, he turns to 4 perfectly cooked steaks on the ground.
Okay. All right, so I think the matriarch is going to. I'm gonna 50-50 this. If it's 1 to 3, I'll go for Melissa's character. It is not, so she's going to instead. Actually, no. There's no more room up on that island. I think she does have to go for Melissa's character. She's just gonna
Okay.
lumber around the island, get into the zone with Constance or whatever the hell your name is now, and she is going to swing with this massive metal ladle at you. So just double checking. Oh god. Oh god. All right. All right, so that's gonna be. I can do. I'm gonna miss that crit, unfortunately, but I'm gonna be able to hit a 9, and I'm
Give
gonna
1 damage.
be able to. No, I could do a 9 with a 6 and the 1 in my brawn. So 3 plus 1 because it's
God.
a heavy weapon. So take 4 points of damage. Oak, and shield or whatever the hell your name is.
Pike.
We
We're
have
just gonna start listing coffee names. Kona.
okay. Folgers. It's the best
Sleepy
part.
time.
Best part of waking up. All right, so that's 4 points of damage. How's that doing for you?
I'm okay.
Okay. And then, last but not least, Tilda.
Okay. Can I get to the cauldron?
Not really. You'd have to kind of get through everybody. You could. I'll say
I
this.
can't like go around the other side of the.
You can, but it's 2 zones away, so you'd have to move, and then you'd have to spend an action to move as well.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, so yeah, you move up right to the cauldron, and you look inside the cauldron, and it's just like this big bubbling vat of like kind of this red thick goo. As my Google is going crazy over here. All right, it's top of the round. It's gonna be Yvonne's turn. You have this giant woman who is attacking Thorin Oakenshield near you, and the other goblins are dead, but this massive woman is beating your compatriot to death with a ladle. What would you like to do?
Pull up a chair. Get
I'm going to attempt to whip her other saggy, disgusting, hanging forearm.
Okay, I'm gonna give you upper hand since you have the high ground here, and she's engaged with somebody else. All right.
So I'll drop the 1. I'll use. So I'll hit with a 9, and then 5 will be my damage.
Okay, and you hear her scream out as a little bit of blood squirts into Oakenshield's face, just over the face, and she's like, "Ah, kill you all!" And she's still up, and she looks fairly healthy. You also notice, Thorin Oakenshield, that the first one of those whip attacks that Yvonne had slashed against her big meaty left forearm has stitched itself back up. All right, and it is your turn.
Okay, so as she's like got her mouth open because she's yelling, I'm gonna try to spear through the back of the
Okay.
mouth.
All right.
So, and I forgot last time that I need to roll 4 because I've got this bit. So I'm dropping the 2. So that's a 10 to hit and a 5 damage.
Okay, that is all good. You don't quite manage to get the thrust you need to take, to actually rip her head off with it, but you do manage to get through there. She's still big and beefy and strong and not yet going down.
I need a crit.
It'll be Victor's turn next. Victor, you're on the opposite side. Well, you're near the opposite side of the island from them. You don't have a very clear shot. You'd have to maneuver around a bit. Either climb up onto the table to see her or kind of run around a little bit.
I'll just use my turn and my action to try and get closer, running around.
No, I mean you can move once and then you can take an attack if you want.
If I move once, am I going to be close enough though?
Yeah, because you have range on your attack.
Yeah, but I can't use it again. So.
Okay, then no, then you would need to move twice.
So I'm just going to move.
Okay.
I'll do that.
Sure.
Get within range.
Fair enough. It'll go next. It is face to face. I don't see any reason why it shouldn't continue to attack Thorin Oakenshield. So she will do so.
I just feel like this may not be the right name. I don't know
I don't
what
know
it
what
is.
her name is. Does it matter? I'm about to kill her, so I don't really need
Is
to
she the
are
main?
about to
Is she
kill
the
me.
main dwarf from The Hobbit? Because I don't think that's
Yeah.
what she is.
I'm an elf.
I did roll really.
Oh, it's
poorly.
close then. No, you're really close. It's fine. No,
I
it's fine.
rolled.
Go
I
ahead.
rolled really poorly, but I can still get an 8. Is an 8 good?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be 2 points of damage.
That takes me right to 0.
Right to 0, you say? That's a
Does.
shame. Okay, high or low, and then roll a d100.
Yeah,
I
you guys-
also have a different thing, by the way. I don't know if this matters. If this is an affliction, probably not. Low.
I never noticed that Melissa's thing is a little bit off here. Okay, so you have fallen, but you are not yet dead. You are unconscious, dying.
We all
Somebody-
equally here. Every one of us equally have experienced the same amount of trauma this game. That's what I think is really good about this.
Somebody could potentially perform a heroic action to try to save her. And then it's going to come around to Tilda's turn, who's over by the cauldron.
So I might kill Pike with this, possibly, but I would like to try to take my my quarterstaff and like use it as like a get it underneath the cauldron
Mm-hmm.
and use it to help leverage it to tip it over towards the matriarch.
Okay. I think I'm gonna want a brawn check for this.
Okay.
And we'll say this is your action.
So it would be 7.
7. So you try to tip it, and it tips over, but it doesn't quite spread out in the direction that you were hoping. So there's a good news, bad news situation. Good news is it didn't kill Thorin Oakenshield, but it also like it blocked off the big woman's escape. So you can see if she were to backpedal, she would backpedal and slip on this, but it didn't actually fully spill onto her. So
Got it. Okay.
there's now scalding plum juice all over the backside of the kitchen beyond the island.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then I would like to move, like start making my way around the island towards Thorin Oakenshield.
So I see what happened. Melissa, in Zoom, could you take your name off of Pike of the Mountain because it's so long that it's showing up on the UI now because it's so long.
Yeah.
So just leave it as Mel so we don't see it on the overlay.
Or Pike.
Yeah, Pike is fine. Okay. All right, back up to Logan's character, Yvonne, if that's still your character. Have you died recently again? I've lost track.
Nope, not this rotation.
Okay, so you're up. You have been doing some good damage, but she seems to have some sort of ability to kind of like quickly heal. What would you like to do?
Good question. I'm gonna keep swinging.
Okay. I will point everyone out that you have the ability, if you want to, you can take a heroic action to try to save Pike, who is laying on the ground.
I'm okay.
Unconscious. Okay.
I'm gonna do a hard pass on that.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Go ahead and roll your
I don't
attack.
even get to think about it.
Okay, go
Hard
ahead.
pass.
Go ahead and roll your attack.
Ooh, that doesn't look so hot. I can ignore the 1. I can give the I'm gonna get a +2.
Target's an 8. You want to get an 8.
So yeah, I have +2, so I can get the 8 with the critical 6.
Yay.
Okay. So let's roll that critical. Let's see what happens. She loses a point of
Wow.
will. All right.
Boring.
She is okay. She took a bunch of damage, but she is still kicking. So your whip just like catches her right around the neck underneath the jowls and just sort of wrenches free this big hunk of fat that's just kind of hanging down almost. And it's just gushing out this bit of blood from her throat. And she looks to you now with like great fury in her eyes, like I'm coming for you next. And then it'll be Pike's turn. You're continuing to bleed to death. And then we're going to go over to Victor.
All right, I'll get within range and strike at her with my longsword then.
Okay, so you move up and you're good to go.
So it'll be
stand on top of Pike's body.
3. Do I want to add my brawn? So just so I do this right from now on.
Sure.
Do I do 3 dice clicks and then put +2 for my
No.
brawn? I do
No.
it afterwards. Okay.
Yeah.
Just do the 3.
I like doing it
And then-
afterwards. Yeah.
All right, so it
have
doesn't
to,
matter. It's
kinda.
pretty
2.
terrible.
Oh gosh.
That's really terrible. Your target is
You
an
could-
8.
You could deal 3 damage or 1 damage.
The target's an 8. Can you get to 8?
With brawn?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your brawn? Your brawn is 2.
The brawn is 2.
4 plus 2 plus your 2 brawn is 8.
So I deal 1
You
damage.
deal 1 damage, which goes through. Now she looks at you and she laughs. And then it's going to be her turn, and she's going to look over towards Yvonne at this point, and I think that's who she's going to target. Oh boy, I can do a 9, and you'll take 2 points of damage. So 2 damage to Yvonne. She sweeps out with her heavy weapon. What does that put you at? Oh, what happened to your mic there? What just happened?
Is it not working?
Oh, there you go. You're
Oh,
fine now.
that's better.
Okay. And then it comes around to Tilda's turn. This woman is beat up and reeling, but she is still somehow, despite her jowls hanging literally by a thread, is still alive.
I have alchemist fire
Okay.
and a torch.
Okay. It's very close quarters. She's literally standing on top of Pike's body and going.
Okay, correct.
Careful how heavy
Rip it.
you
Let's
talk
go.
into the mic. by
What
the way.
I'll do
Ashley,
first-
Ashley, don't talk into the mic so heavy.
What I'll do first is I will do a heroic action
Okay.
and save Pike.
Okay, that's your whole turn. So you're gonna
That's what I'll
run
do.
over and kind of like drag her in such
I
a
just-
way that she's.
I just like kiss her forehead, like all better. You're welcome.
So you move a step in, and you do that. Okay, so yeah, you've managed to sort of shield her from harm. All right, top of the round, and it is once again back to Yvonne's. This woman, you can see that like the fat jowls are beginning to restitch themselves. Not fully, but they're slowly restitching themselves.
Not. Should we just keep slinging on her? I guess.
Yes.
All right. That didn't go through.
There it goes.
There we
Oh,
go.
that's a big roll.
So I drop the 3. I can hit with another crit.
Okay. Crit damage enough is not enough to kill her. She's getting low though. So let me roll a crit. You swing down with your
Whip.
and you
Insta tourniquet. Just yeah.
you just like go to pull on as it kind of like sweeps around like her ankle, and you try to pull it almost as if like you're trying to knock her down, but instead of doing so, the whip just kind of contorts and just clear cuts her foot off, and it just falls and flaps to the ground.
It's that diabetes. That's
Purple
what that is right
blood
there.
spewing all over the place. She is still alive. And we go over Constance, you're okay. Or not Constance, Pike, you're alive. It's now to Victor.
Strike
Uh,
at everything I'm alive.
I don't
She's laying
think so.
down. Is she down? Is she prone?
She's not prone. She didn't fall.
All right. So I'll just strike again with my longsword.
Okay.
I'll do that.
I'll say this isn't. There's enough room that we're. Oh Jesus, Justin, you are the worst. You got +2, right? You got +2 from Braun.
I deal 1 damage.
Okay, you deal 1 damage, which is not enough to kill her.
This is a joke.
Okay, it's gonna come around to her, and because I haven't killed Justin yet.
Do I have some type of settings on that I'm not aware of or something?
No, it's just you're bad. You're just bad. I think she's gonna go ahead and try to pivot and turn a little bit and take, because it's harder now for her to get up and attack Yvonne, considering she's missing a foot, and she's instead going to turn her attacks to Victor, and she'll swing. Oh, that's not a good roll. So I can do, yeah, take 3 points of damage. Victor. as she turns with a like a horizontal swing of her ladle and just smashes it against the side of your head. And then we'll go to Tilda. This, you can see that she is wobbling really bit. Every couple of seconds you can tell that like there's like stitching that's happening, like as if her skin is slowly starting to restitch itself, Tilda. But she looks as if she's lost a lot of blood. Her foot's laying on the ground. What do you want to do?
I want to hit her.
Go for it.
Wow.
Wait.
You roll another d6. Remember, 3d6 for attacks.
Oh yeah.
You better roll a 6 though. I think you got to roll a 6 on this. Like, how did you roll a 2 on 3d6? It doesn't make any sense. You cannot.
Yeah, I don't think I hit.
Unfortunately, you cannot hit her, and you can see that the neck begins to slowly stitch it back up, almost like it's a football chin strap that's starting to come back into place on its own accord. And it's back.
I can do stuff on my turn, by the way.
What can you do?
So basically, when you come back, you come up with 1 vigor, and you can spend grip for a 1-to-1.
Okay. So what do you want to do? It's your turn.
So I'm gonna basically put myself back to full.
Okay. So you're
spend all my grip.
So you die.
Well, almost all my grip then, so that I've got some health left.
okay. So
I'm gonna attack with the spear.
Okay. So go ahead.
All right. So
Can you guys help me out a little bit here?
I know you've.
I've
pumped
lost
a
2
ton of
characters,
damage into it.
and I'm still.
that's a horrible roll.
You gave her a few paper cuts. What are you talking about?
The target is 8. Can you get to 8?
No.
All right.
Gosh darn it.
So you sweep out and you cannot quite kill her, and it comes back around to Yvonne. What do you want to do?
Does anybody have anything cool in their equipment?
Probably
Nope.
not. In the
I have some caltrops. I don't think her feet really matter at this point, though.
Maybe you could knock her into the scalding plum juice.
There is
I
scalding
don't know.
plum juice behind her. Yeah.
Hammer and
Can,
chisel.
can I
you guys
attempt
look like-
can I attempt a maneuver to knock her in? If I succeed on my next combat roll, just like a mutant year 0.
Yeah.
Because
Roll.
if I get an extra success, I
Mhm.
can actually knock her down. That's how it works. I remember.
What are you doing right now? Are you attacking? I lost.
Yeah, I'm attacking.
Okay. All right.
I can succeed with 4 damage.
4 total damage. She is literally on her last leg.
Somebody, literally, because we took off the other.
All right.
Yeah, I took off the other.
It is back now into the
Whee!
proper order. Pike, it is actually your turn. So you go second. We skipped you last time, so
Oh, so it's me again?
yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna do this one more time.
There's literally 1 HP left. You can do this. 1 vigor left, I should say.
Seems like a better roll. I've got 5. Yes, 5 damage.
All right. So describe how you kill her.
So I am going to take my spear. Gonna kind of try to do what I did before, kind of like right through kind of the mouth and the back of the head, and just like push the spear down so that kind of as I go through the back of her skull, I'm also pushing her down onto the scalding plum juice on the ground.
Okay. And as she tips over and lands onto the ground, you watch as she explodes into this giant array of plum viscera, organs, and bone. And I need Tilda, Victor, and Pike to all make wits checks. Target is a 9.
I made it.
Made it.
And you all managed to dive. I think, Ashley, did you make it?
I did not. No.
Okay, so the 2 of you, Victor and Constance, managed to dive behind the kitchen island and get out of the way of this massive explosion. However, Tilda, you are going to take 2 points of damage as you are just rained upon with blood and bone guts and all those things, and they catch you in the eye, and you are just coated in it.
Gross. Okay.
But she is dead. And because we're pretty, we'll fast forward here because we're pretty late. So you look around the room a bit. You find this big old tome filled with all sorts of wonderful recipes, including this highly prized recipe for plum wine. You make it back to your company with a handful of treasures. You tell them about what you found. They send a few more folks with you to help clear out the rest of the grounds. There were a couple dozen others, including this hideous pool with dripping water. It was filled with like these gestating little goblin creatures. And yeah, you some of you didn't make it out. Some of you did, but you were able to return to town, Tippenstall Town, with news of what happened to the plum vines. And because you did so well and saw such horrible things, your commander allows you like the weekend to experience the fun joys of the remainder of Tippenstall's celebration. And that's where we'll go ahead and end this
3 characters later.
one shot. Hey, it says 2 to 3 characters.
It's true.
You got yours in. Okay, so that is that for Best Left Buried.
Nice.
Immediate thoughts? Anybody? Immediate thoughts other than Justin sucks at rolling?
I really enjoyed it.
Justin may suck at rolling, but he also lasted his entire character. So
To be
Sure,
fair,
so-
it's because he was trapped underneath a net for like the longest time.
And he should have died, but he's only here because
Yeah.
of a rule mess up.
Yeah. Couple things we
No,
screwed
no,
up
no.
here.
I wouldn't have died.
I technically could have lived with my character too, because I had a ability. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it basically let me replace any roll before a.
Oh, that's right. The lucky roll at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have replaced it
So-
with like your 4 or whatever.
I did. Yeah, I
Wow.
claimed to. I said high, and I rolled low, but I could have said low, and
Yeah.
then no matter what I could have rolled, I could have just replaced it with the
Oh,
4.
yeah.
and that would've been
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
That-
not necessarily
No.
fine, but I could have.
Yeah.
Super
not
easy
insta-died.
character creation, but like they're not like one dimensional though, because like you're still like adding in all of like the archetype abilities and the advancements and all of that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what happens is that you get every 8 XP, you can spend an advancement, and whenever you pass a grip check, you get XP, and whenever you kind of return to the camp with treasure, which you would get XP. Usually, it only happens at the end of an adventuring day. So, but the grip checks and stuff like they start to add up, and then you can buy an advancement. So that's kind of cool. And whenever you buy an advancement, you also increase your vigor and grip as well. So you're starting to increase your those
health and
derivative
stuff.
stats. Stuff like
Yeah.
brawn and wit and will, there are advancements that are quite literally extra brawn. And so if you feel like increasing your brawn, you just take extra brawn and it goes up +1. And so it's like that. I like it. There's lots of little things in it too that we didn't quite do. I think that it says it in the book, but like one of the things that's in the book is it's all about figuring out ways to get advantage on things to try to get that upper hand, because it really does help. And in some cases to make things trivial to get a lot of upper hands, so that you don't even have to roll because it's auto success. So, but it does warn you that combat is brutal, fast, and swingy, and literally.
I think it's fun for a one-shot
Mhm.
scenario. I don't know how fun it would be like week to week, because I feel like when you're going week to week, you probably want to get more invested in your characters and what you're doing. You know.
Yeah, that's true. I will say that though, you will be getting stronger. Like that's the other thing. Is like you get stronger
yeah, if you can survive.
if you survive. Like
Yeah.
Well, and like we kind of just like ran face first into
Yeah.
everything. Like if we were, it would force us to be more creative, like with how we would survive.
Yeah,
So-
definitely play it if it's going to be a one shot or kind of a longer.
Yeah, there's a couple other there's a bunch of like content out for it too, which is really nice. It helps take some of the my workload down too, so I don't have to come up
Mhm.
with all of it myself. Like this was, like I said, it was a little dungeon that they put together, one or two page dungeon, which was just the bones for what we have going here. But they have some longer adventures and things that I'm probably gonna want to try out, and I'm kind of curious to see whether or not Justin is right in that like this might be better suited for one shots or short run stuff. But even still, I don't think they're going to be like really long campaigns. I still think they'll be like some of the other games that we've played where we've done like maybe
like
know,
2 or 3.
well, ours when we were doing Zweihander, we were doing like a good 5 to 10. So I think
Oh yeah,
5 to 10 sessions is probably where we're at.
I was thinking of EB.
The other thing is that if we do it that way too, I think I would let you all just make your characters as opposed to doing it randomly. So you can like kind of min max a little bit, and so you'd be able to know exactly what your character's good at. All right, so
I think
Any
that
other
would help
thoughts?
because like my first one had things that worked with wits, but I didn't end up getting anything in wits. So
Right.
it's those little things where like the random, could put you at a disadvantage. So if you're able to kind of put it together, like there's not a ton of choices, but even those little things could help if you were trying to kind of maximize effectiveness.
Okay. So let's see. What are we doing soon? On this channel on Monday, as we're closing it down, we will be playing Alien. You'll see Melissa and I in that. So that's going to be 9 Central. If you want to come back and watch us play the Alien RPG from Free League Games. Next Friday on this channel, we'll be doing something else. I kind of want, if I can read through the rules fast enough, I would like to do a one-shot of this, which is Those Dark Places, which is another like industrial sci-fi game that I just got. Rules light.
Okay.
Very excited. So that might be next Friday if I can read through all the rules fast enough this weekend. And then I think we're going to be having a Mutiny Year Zero again sometime soon. Other things. Tuesday, I think Tuesday on the Free League Publishing channel, Matt is previewing the new alpha rules for Twilight 2000, and I'm going to be kind of messing around with that with him. So you can catch that.
That'd be cool.
But that's it. So come back on Monday, watch us play Alien.
I also stream every night too.
Yes, I agree, Bert. We should also just sit around and talk and all that kind of stuff. Justin, what do you stream, and where can they find your stream?
Twitch.tv/Jehufa, and I stream right now. It's 100% Warcraft because I'm extremely addicted again. So I do that every night except for Fridays. I'll probably be here, and Saturdays and Sundays are kind of like optional, but I do that all the time.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'm gonna go ahead and give our friends over at the Defenders of Cobalt a
Can
raid.
I give a little plug as well?
Yeah, man, you got something?
Ooh.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so I am a COVID ICU nurse. So to the 10 of you that may be listening to this right now, make sure that you stay inside this holiday season, avoid as much travel as you can, wear your goddamn mask, because we are completely at capacity. We are converting non-ICU beds into ICU beds, and we're double stacking patients in rooms. We are desperately short on help. So please, as much as you possibly can, avoid transmitting this disease. Thank you so much.
Well said. Absolutely. And on that note, let's get the hell out of here and you too stay safe, Logan. Like I don't even know how you possibly handle it. Like that's insane. All right. So good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching this. If you're watching this on VOD or YouTube, I'm going to throw us on the end screen and start up that raid, and we'll catch you next week. So bye-bye.